If you gamble, use your game sense.
At Fountain Tire, save big during our Road Ready sales event until October 21st. Who wouldn't want up to 25% on select tires and a bonus of $50 off any service? A lizard, maybe? Or a ghost? Restrictions apply. Financing available. Book your appointment at fountaintire.com.
Every Albertan wants a strong and secure retirement. We all want to make the most of it. That's why Alberta's government is exploring a new possibility, an Alberta pension plan. You might be wondering what's in it for you. The new plan could mean higher benefits for seniors and bigger paychecks for workers. As we explore this opportunity together, Alberta's government wants to hear from you. It's your pension, your choice. Learn more and have your say at albertapensionplan.ca. A message from the Government of Alberta.
At Toyota, we believe your vehicle is more than just your ride. It's your trusty sidekick. So make sure it's ready to go, because there's a 100% chance of winter this winter. And you can take those odds to the bank, not the snowbank. Trust the experts at Toyota for premium winter tires, batteries, brakes, and more. Beat the winter rush and book an appointment today. Visit shoptoyota.ca or contact your local Toyota dealer.
Hey, brother, there's an endless
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
There's pretty good contact here as he hits it to deep right, and he's hit it out. Now that's a birthday present that George Springer just gave himself, and the Blue Jays have the early lead.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Howell slinging it to the end zone. Was it caught? Yes! McLaurin! Touchdown!
Well, magnificent Monday. How are you? Welcome to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, coming to you live on Oilers Nation YouTube. Thanks for joining us. Wherever you're listening, watching, maybe you're streaming us. Got the Stingray iHeartRadio app. You're listening online, sports1440.ca. We love it. That's what's great about technology nowadays. In your radio, in your car, at home, wherever. It's great. Something tells me many of you fired up, as you should be. It has not been a banner start for the Edmonton Oilers, but as they say, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And the Oilers are hoping to be a lot better as the season goes along. 0-2 as they played better on Saturday. Not good enough because you didn't win. They outshot the Canucks. They didn't give up a lot, but they didn't get a timely save. They didn't get a timely goal. 5-on-5. They got one goal, 5-on-5 in 2 games. They have a .750 save percentage in 2 games. Their goalies have made 36 saves. They've allowed 12 goals. Yoza. So, Campbell 4 of 16. Skinner 24 of 32. It's not an ideal start. There's only one way to go, though, and it's up. It'd be very difficult to go down in the save percentage department. In the shooting percentage, as I mentioned, the Oilers have 1 goal, 5-on-5. So there's lots of elements that need to improve on this team, and they hope it starts tomorrow in Nashville. Oilers, we'll get to Evander Kane. I had a one-on-one with him. We'll hear from Woodcroft a little bit later on as well. Connor McDavid, as the Oilers are currently in the air on their way to Nashville today. They'll play on the Preds. It's a very kind of weird Nashville to Philly and then home. It's an odd short 2-game road trip, but not very short when it goes travel distance. And then they'll play Winnipeg at home on Saturday night. The Gregor Show, as always, is presented by our title sponsor, PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game. Go to PlayAlberta.ca. They got prop bets now. They got the odd boosts. You name it. Play it all. Have some fun. Lottery tickets, casino. Sign up. Have some fun. Stay within your limits at PlayAlberta.ca. You can get involved. Something tell. We already got text flying in. 833-401-1440. That's the text line and the phone line. Now, keep that number memorized, because starting at this time next week, we are bringing back a contest that we did last year. And it was very popular amongst our audience because this gives you the opportunity to gift someone something that they really need. And it's Help Your Neighbor, courtesy of Legacy Heating and Cooling. And you are going to be able to gift someone that you know a brand new installed high-efficiency furnace. And they'll take out their old furnace too. They do everything. It was amazing last year as we had our winner, and Karen and her two young girls, and then Steve stepped up and he did installation in their place. It was utterly amazing. And you know what? The feedback we got from people that just, went into a furnace, great, but sometimes it might be someone who doesn't need it, right? And maybe got a new furnace 4 years ago. We don't really need a new furnace. So do some thinking, do some digging. Somebody in your street, somebody in your family. Can't be you can't gift it to your wife. You can't gift it to your partner living in your own home, okay? Just so you know, those are the rules. You have to give it to someone outside of your home. Now, you'll get a prize, right? We'll give you a pair of seats to an Oiler game, and we have something else that we'll give you as well. But this is Help Your Neighbor, so plan ahead. Start thinking about it. We'll do the contest for a month starting next Monday, and then somebody is going to get that installed right when the cold weather starts coming, and that'll be a huge difference maker for them. Huge savings, man. Like, this furnace is valued over $6,500, $7,000. So it's a really big prize to win. So that starts on the Gregor Show next Monday. Coming up today, Pat Lafontaine will join us. Now, Pat Lafontaine, of course, had some serious concussion issues that caused his career to be a lot shorter than it should have been. He was an electrifying player, had 148 points one season, did Patty Lafontaine. And he is going to join us, and we are going to talk about this new hockey helmet that he has. It's an impact absorbing helmet to make the sport safer. He's been working with people. Obviously, this is something near and dear to his heart because his career was shortened because of it. So he will join us. We got Bronte. Terry Ryan's by today. We'll have Ryan's rant. Also, Andi Petrillo will be by. Spec, Kevin Woodley. We got a loaded show. Obviously, you will be involved. 833-401-1440 in our Jiffy Lube inbox. Stop in right now for a full synthetic Pennzoil oil change, and you will get a bonus 50 air miles, courtesy of Jiffy Lube. Sport local, jiffylubeservice.ca. As mentioned, the Oilers, they're 0-2. They've given up 12 goals. They've got 1 goal, 5-on-5. Their power play is good. Their shot attempts, I guess, if you want to say it's a positive. If we're looking for positives first, you can say, hey, here's the Oilers. Guess what? They've had the most shot attempts. They've got the best shot attempt against in the league. It's 64% for their Corsi 4. Their Fenwick 4 is third best. Their shot 4 in the NHL is sixth best. This is at 5-on-5. Okay. Now the problem is, and so all the numbers, they're out shooting everyone, but then you get to the stat that matters the most, their goal for percentage. And they're 31st at 11%. 1 goal for, 8 goals against. And you're like, Gregor, how is someone worse? Well, the Washington Capitals have only played 1 game, and they are at 0% because they don't have a goal 5-on-5, and they gave up 2. So they're at 0%. Not great. So we will, we'll see where, like, Vancouver's expected goal for is 38%. Edmonton's is 61. Yet Vancouver's 2-0 and Edmonton's 0-2. Like, there's very few numbers that you can find that will say Edmonton played horribly, but they played horrible at key moments, right? Not getting a save. And don't tell me, well, the goals are deflected in. Did Casey DeSmith not stop a deflection the entire game? At some point, your goalie has to make some saves, doesn't he? And trust me, they'll be the first to tell you, 750 save percentage isn't good enough. Simply not. You got to make a few more stops. Forwards, bear down. Score. Make it a little bit harder. Look at the Oilers' goal, 5-on-5. Dismiss all over the place. 3-4 chances before Draisaitl bangs it home. Did you see that again the rest of the game? Not as much. So, teams win and lose as a team. The Oilers' 5-on-5 offense isn't good enough. Their 5-on-5 defense and goaltending, definitely not good enough. Special teams kind of soft because their power play scoring, the penalty kills giving up a lot. So, one's good, the other one's terrible. They'll have to improve there for sure. Look at Darnell Nurse in that game against Vancouver. In the defensive zone, he was excellent. But he made a bad read in the offensive zone that led to a 2-on-0. Right now, sure, Fogle, he's anticipating he hits the net. Right? That's one of the things they always talk about. Do not miss wide, because that's what happens. But still, you don't need both defensemen in. Nurse had to read that play better. And you know what? It rings around. Now, it's a 2-on-1. It wouldn't have been a 2-on-0. It's a 2-on-1. Now, maybe they score in the 2-on-1. I'll never know. You'll never know. No one will know. But there's a better chance they don't score when it's a 2-on-1 than a 2-on-0. For sure. So, one big mistake hurts the team. Now, there was other ones. The rest of the game, you go look at all Darnell Nurse's numbers through 2 games. They're actually really good. But you want to eliminate the one big mistake. That's kind of been a calling card for the Oilers for quite some time. So they got to improve on it. No question. Some other stories. How about Austin Matthews? Back-to-back Hatties. He could become the first player in NHL history to go back-to-back hat tricks. Now, it's obviously really hard to do. But he is taking on the Chicago Blackhawks at home. And what's funny, the Leafs say, here's what matters when you score goals, people. Do you know who has the second worst 5-on-5 save percentage in the NHL through 2 games? The Toronto Maple Leafs. The Oilers are the worst at 750. That's 5-on-5. And so I guess the Oilers' goaltending is consistent. Their save percentage, even strength, 5-on-5 is the same as it is everywhere else. 750. Not good. But the Toronto Maple Leafs have the second worst 5-on-5 save percentage, but they're 2-0. Why? Because they've scored 6 and 7 goals. Makes a big difference. So offense can cover up for things a little bit. So you might want to think offense tonight, potentially. The over, possibly, at playalberta.ca. Who knows? But no one's talking about it in Toronto because they're talking about the fact that Matthews has back-to-back hat tricks, as you should be. It's a pretty cool thing. You don't see it very often. Heck, we've never seen 3 in a row. So Connor Bedard, Matthews, could be a must-watch TV tonight. Also on the weekend, the Edmonton Elks. Oof. It was must-watch to start the game. You're like, man, the Elks are playing great. Right? They're off. Their offense is rolling. You're like, here we go. And then the second quarter came, and that was a rough 3 minutes, to put it mildly. It was a brutal 3 minutes for the Elks. And they just never responded. And they end up losing 35-21. Ouch. That was a tough one, Con Man, because it started so promising and then just completely fell apart.
Yeah, we've seen that before with this team. Since Trey Ford took over, I think it was the Winnipeg game where they had a nice little start there, and the wheels fell off at some point. I guess not overly surprising when you look at this team. Frustrating for sure, but kind of the way it's gone so far. Nice to see a good start, but it really doesn't matter when you have that type of collapse and things go wrong in the fashion that they did. The big plays against them, the kick return or punt return, it's going to be tough. So tough one. See how they bounce back in that finale of the season, but kind of on par for the season for the green and gold this year.
And NFL, the Browns beat the 49ers. They missed the field goal in the last play of the game. You had also the Jets upsetting Philly 20-14. And easily, I think, the Giants could have won that game. That's probably some of the worst clock management I've ever seen at the end of the first half and then at the end of the game, Cons. But the Bills, this has been a crazy season in the NFL. Like, there's people were expecting the 49ers to walk over Cleveland. People thought the Jets had no chance. And hey, all of a sudden, Wilson, hey, he's not great, but guess what? He's getting it done. He's a young quarterback. He's learning. And the Bills, it's funny, man. Like they spanked Miami. You don't really know from week to week and what's going to happen, and that makes it exciting. So I have no idea what's going to happen tonight against the Chargers and the Cowboys, but something tells me it could be high scoring.
Yeah, I would think so. For the CD Lamb fantasy owners, I think he's going to put up a big game tonight against that Chargers secondary. When the Cowboys and Chargers play, there's always just weird things that happen. So I would fully expect that one. And you're right. I mean, if the New York Giants have any sort of clock management at the end of the first half, they're kicking a field goal to win the game at the end of regulation. But they kind of messed that one up. The Bills are the benefactors there. The Bills got through. I'm sure they're going to throw that film away. Let's just move on to the next one. But yeah, it was a crazy weekend. Anything can happen. The Niners losing was certainly something. The injuries, that might be the bigger concern for the 49ers going forward.
Yeah,
here.
what's the update? I haven't seen it. What's the update? There was Williams. There was McCaffrey.
Yeah, haven't seen anything yet. I'm sure we'll hear about it starting tomorrow when they get back out there on the practice field. But for the Niners, man, they need to get better. And that just kind of furthers the point. We had Brock Purdy and MVP conversations. We know who the MVP is of that 49ers offense. It's Christian McCaffrey. It's undeniable.
Well, yeah, that's fair. Brock Purdy had played very well. But yeah, Christian McCaffrey is he's kind of the go-to guy there without question. Hey, Greggs, last week you were talking about players choosing their own goal song, and you mentioned the song Wow by Tiesto. I'd only heard that song once or twice, but this weekend I played it 50 times. What a banger from Nard Dog. Oh, Nard Dog is a good tune, eh? I love that song. Get you fired up. I like it. Good taste. Good taste. Hey, guys, I was watching Saturday's game. They were in Vancouver zone a lot. They always seem to pass too much instead of shoot. What's your thoughts from Cam? Well, they did get a lot of shots at 40, but there were a few times where I thought they overpassed. Yes, I think that's fair. And that's going to happen every now and then. But to me, and here's, like, when we talk calling cards of the Oilers, there's one calling card that I still think they have to improve on, and that's getting more comfortable, and I don't care what, like getting to the net and just getting a few ugly goals. They improved a little bit there last year, but still not to the level that I think is required to go deep in the playoffs. You're going to need a lot of garbage goals. It just happens in the playoffs, man. Right around the crease, hammer it home, stop there. Watch how often the Oilers will have the puck in the offensive zone and there's nobody in front of the net. Just take notice of that and you'll see. And then compare it to the other top teams in the league. Vegas, unbelievable at always having someone going to the net. Right? Jonathan Marchessault's not a big dude. Look how many of his goals were scored right around the net. You know what? Hyman can go there. I need to see Brown there more. You know, and then when you're there, be in a position ready that you can bang some home. So yeah, there's a few times I thought they overpassed it, but not a huge amount. Hey, Gregor, thanks for being the voice of reason. Too many people think the sky's falling. They're willing to trade everybody. From Jana, the longtime happy listener. Yeah, well, it's a little bit early to trade everybody. Right? I look at all the underlying numbers and the orders. Hey, I think it's fair to say goalies make a save. Oilers eliminate the big mistake. Like there's no reason for Nurse to make that offensive zone read. None. I don't care that Fogle missed the net. Yeah, it sucks he missed the net. But even if he missed the net, if Nurse makes the right read, then he's back and it's a 2-on-1. Now they still might score, but at least then he's not making a glaring misread. Right? Guys will miss the net every now and then. Penalty kill. My goodness. Get some stops. And then 5-on-5 scoring. Like 1 goal in 2 games is not good enough. But even if your goaltending's better, you're not going to win many games when you score 1 goal, a half a goal per game, 5-on-5. And it's not like Vancouver's a juggernaut defensively. They're not. So got to bear down a little bit. Goalie's got to bear down. Forwards got to bear down for sure. Quick break. When we return, Pat Lafontaine will join us next. And he's got something that I think will very much interest you if you play hockey or if you have a child who plays hockey. Next on the Jason Gregor Show, live on Sports 1440 and Oilers Nation YouTube.
Christensen Communities, the name in active adult living. Enjoy retirement living without compromise. At Christensen, we understand that each lifestyle is unique. We are committed to providing choice through optional dining, personal services, recreation programs, and care plans to suit your current and future needs. Enjoy maintenance-free living and build new friendships in a safe, independent community. Large suites with full kitchens and in-suite laundry, on-site amenities, and so much more. Find out more today about our communities across the province at cdlhomes.com.
Hey world, get ready to believe. At Oodle Noodle, we serve up world-class, worldwide flavors in our sweet, saucy, and fiery noodles. We believe in the power of nudes. We've got everything from saucy mac and cheese to sizzling pad thai to so many other unbelievable dishes sure to make you a noodle convert for life. You've got to taste them to believe it. Don't be a skeptic. The proof is in the noodles. Check us out at oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle Noodle. We believe in noodles.
A full-service provider of heavy haul transportation and rigging at the highest level. Next Gen Transportation.
We're developing new and innovative ways to transport oversized and overweight equipment to remote and challenging locations.
Our Next Gen team leads with a wealth of experience and expertise. But most importantly, we put safety first, so everyone gets home safely.
We also take great pride in supporting our local community programs and teams. Good luck to everyone this season and in the year ahead.
Visit nextgentransportation.com.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310-GLASS or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
We've got your local sports covered all day. Fox Sports has you covered tonight, after 9, and all weekend long. Be sure to check out the incredible NFL coverage on Sunday. Often imitated, never duplicated. We're Sports 1440.
There's 2 seasons in Alberta, winter and construction. During these days of traffic barricades and slower commutes, GS Construction reminds you those crews are improving our communities. They're rehabilitating and upgrading Edmonton's infrastructure all across the city. When you see the barricades and run into a traffic backup, remember, the crews are there to help. Drive slow and be patient. Help make our city better and join the GS Construction team. See what they're hiring for on Indeed.com. GS Construction, laying the groundwork for your community since 1974.
Some things just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. Your love for the game and Papa John's passion for better ingredients. Better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any regular menu price order. Better ingredients. Better pizza. Papa John's. That's Sports20.
5-time Alberta Junior Hockey League champions, the Spruce Grove Saints are celebrating their 20th season in Spruce Grove. Be part of the action and enjoy some of the best Junior A hockey Canada has to offer by experiencing a Saints game for your next outing. Tickets range from $9 to $15 with free parking and some of the best food and drink specials in town. For more information on tickets and how you can become a partner, go to sprucegrovesaints.ca.
At Fountain Tire, save big during our Road Ready sales event until October 21st. Who wouldn't want up to 25% on select tires and a bonus of $50 off any service? A lizard, maybe? Or a ghost? Restrictions apply. Financing available. Book your appointment at fountaintire.com.
What you eating there?
Oh, just a Leon's $10,000 shopping spree in a Chevy Colorado.
How do you plan to get all that from a Big Mac?
Monopoly Double Play.
Monopoly Double Play?
First, I peel unpack, then I peel an app. 2 ways to play and win.
So basically, you're potentially holding the most lucrative Big Mac ever?
No, I'm potentially eating the most lucrative Big Mac ever.
Now you can double play at McDonald's for more ways to win millions of prizes. While supplies last, chances of winning change as prizes are claimed. Chances of winning McD's at prices based on time of code entry. See rules at participating McDonald's in Canada or at McDpromotion.ca.
Ready, dude? It's only a 200-foot drop. You'll be fine. Off you go.
This is so fun!
You don't have to go to great heights to have a good time. Feel the fun at playojo.net online casino with stacks of exciting slots and table games added every single week. Get that Ojo feeling at playojo.net today.
Open to all players 18 years and older. This is not a gambling site. Please play responsibly.
There's nothing like having a little skin in the game to make things interesting. But when a little skin becomes more than you can afford to lose, it's time to take a break from sports betting. Set a budget and stick to it. If you gamble, use your game sense.
At Toyota, we believe your vehicle is more than just your ride. It's your trusty sidekick. So make sure it's ready to go, because there's a 100% chance of winter this winter. And you can take those odds to the bank, not the snowbank. Trust the experts at Toyota for premium winter tires, batteries, brakes, and more. Beat the winter rush and book an appointment today. Visit shoptoyota.ca or contact your local Toyota dealer.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, the clear choice for all your auto, residential, and commercial glass. Call 310 Glass or book now at crystalglass.ca.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
We continue on. Sports 1440 live on Oilers Nation YouTube. We will hear from Hall of Famer Pat LaFontaine coming up momentarily. He's going to join us, talk about his career, but also about the new helmet that he has spent many, many years working on. For those of you that are a little too young, Pat LaFontaine had some brutal concussions in his hockey playing career that shortened his career. Still had a 15-year career, which is amazing, but he had some really brutal hits. And he has spent many years working to design a helmet that they feel can lower the chance of serious head injuries, right? I don't think you can eliminate it completely. Obviously, you want to lower it. So we'll talk to Pat about that coming up. Also tonight, if you are a baseball fan, hey, what about the Rangers? The Rangers have yet to lose in the playoffs. They're 6-0. Swept the Rays, swept the O's, and then won yesterday 2-0. What a run for the Rangers, and they will look to continue that later on today as they're taking on the Astros. That game's going to get going here right away. And then tonight, game one of the NLCS. It has the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Philadelphia Phillies. So the D-backs, little surprise team. But the Phillies, man, these are two likable teams right now. I'm not sure you can really dislike either one. So it should be fun to see who's going to come up and win in that series. So a little bit of baseball talk coming up later on in the show. I've been reading up on Patty LaFontaine and the Valor helmet, and it's very intriguing to me, all the science that they've put into it. Because you know what? We have been taught for a long time, you're not going to get rid of concussions, which is true. You're not going to get rid of it, but you want to lower the chances that you can have a serious injury. And so we will now get to our big guest of the day, brought to you by the Hockey Super League, a premier hockey solution with a clear path for long-term development, offering borderless hockey, including provincial and cross-province competition. Visit hockeysuperleague.ca. And we are joined now by a gentleman who was inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame in 2003. He had 2 50-goal seasons in his career, including 148 points back in the 1993 season. Starred with the New York Islanders and the Buffalo Sabres before finishing his final season with the New York Rangers in 1998. Pat LaFontaine joins us. Pat, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Pat, really happy to have you on. We'll get to your career a little bit later on, but first I want to talk about, something that this has been many years in the making. That obviously you've worked on this. I was telling our younger audience, maybe don't remember, you're an outstanding player who unfortunately had some brutal head injuries, some concussions during your career. And so this has been like a years long, maybe decades long endeavor for you with a company called Valor and the Valor Axiom helmet. So tell us, what makes this helmet a little bit different than others?
So, I had to retire, obviously, because of multiple head injuries. And Dr. Kelly, James Kelly, world-renowned neurologist, who actually cleared me to play at one point and then finally said, that's it. You have to hang up the skates and you don't want to do any more damage. He and I became very good friends.
Okay.
We looked in the possibility of how could we take an existing helmet. A lot of them are two-piece shells. And we realized that physics will tell you that if you take an impact on a one-piece shell, that it evenly distributes around the shell, the impact, versus a two-piece shell, which is traditional for hockey. And not that you can't build a two-piece shell and build a very good one. But if you build a really good one piece, which we call a mono shell, and a good two piece, that one piece shell will always do a better job at deflecting the impact. So we actually created a mono shell, which there are a few of them out there. We created a special my fit dial that have the ability to custom fit. We put 2 layers of what we call progressive impact pods for the heavy hits and the everyday hits. We created a fit lock. I lost my helmet in '96 where I was hit by a guy about 6'6", and I was already concussed. And I had my helmet on, securely, and it popped off, and I was concussed. And then my forehead hit the ice, and I had kind of what they call a double whammy there. And that really put me out for about 6 months. So I looked, and we just looked at saying, how could we take what's already, pretty good, and even try to make it better? And the good news is that the Valor Axiom helmet got a 5-star rating. It's the first 5-star rating for protection and performance since 2017. And one of the other guys I will tell you that's involved is a former Edmonton Oiler, Scotty Thornton, who played 18 years. He's a partner in it. And, listen, from my perspective, it's a give back. The game's been great. I was blessed to play 15 years pro. And I just thought if there's a chance to improve and elevate the safety, then let's try to do it and give back to that next generation to try to make it a bit safer. And I think, we're probably headed in a direction where you might see all one-piece shells eventually, but as we say, it's beyond traditional safe, and that's what we're trying to do at Valor, look beyond the traditional safe piece and how can we improve on what we already have.
So if it's a mono shell, Pat, does it have the ability, like if you buy it for your 8-year-old and their head grows a bit, can they keep it for a few years, or is it form fitted and this means you might have to replace it sooner?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's we've got 2 pieces where on the MyFit fit system where you actually have an occipital adjuster that moves up and down depending on where your occipital bone is.
Okay.
And then we have a fit dial that pulls your head forward that allows for, I would say 2 to 4 years. And depending on when you go from a small to a medium to a large, depending on how your head grows. So no, this is a helmet. And the nice thing about it is it's across the board 5-star. So if you're a pro athlete, you're college, you're junior, or you're 6 years old or 10 years old, you get the same protection.
Now, when you were younger, Pat, you're a few years older than me, but when you were younger, we had a mono shell called the XL7. And I remember the helmet because I had one as a kid, and it was super comfortable inside, but you could like bend it and almost touch the bottoms together. That's kind of like the last mono shell I recall. Did you remember the XL7? It's kind of an odd looking helmet. And it was a mono shell. And I love the science that you brought at the start there, explaining kind of the difference between having 2 pieces compared to one. And it makes sense. I also I've seen pictures of this. It seems that the design, the curvature is a little different than the traditional helmet.
It is. We've made it. So here's the way we looked at it. We actually had a gentleman by the name of Jose Fernandez who originally did X-Man, Batman, Iron Man, and he took what would be a futuristic, NHL/hockey helmet. And then Dr. Kelly and a gentleman by the name of David Muskowitz, who's our engineer and designer, we then took that and said, okay, number one is safety, performance, fit. And then we understand the mirror look. We wanted to best make it look as close as we can, but we weren't going to compromise on protection.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, I think it looks great. But the analogy I would say to you is you take a cue ball, and if you have a Rubik's Cube on a pool table, you hit it with a cue ball, it's going to grab it, torque it, spin it, smash it. But if you take another cue ball, it's going to glance off. So what we did was we created smoother edges, a little bit slightly curves in areas in the back and the front, so that when the force hits the helmet, it doesn't grab it or torque it. It actually glances off of it, and it creates a lot less impact on the head.
Okay. Pat Lafontaine joins us, Hockey Hall of Famer, talking about the new helmet, the Valor Axiom. Now, you got the 5-star rating. Pat, when is it going to be available in Canada, or is it already available in Canada?
It is available now. We have distribution out of Toronto.
Okay.
You can go on to valorhockey.com. We're super excited. We're selling helmets, and we've got kids at all different ages, and we're excited to get them on their heads. And from my perspective, there's one thing I learned. You're not going to stop, and Dr. Kelly will tell you this too. You're not going to stop a concussion. It's going to happen because the brain is inside a shell and it's moving around with fluid, obviously. But what you can do is minimize the damage. And what we're trying to do is on all those hits, whether you're a kid, however old you are, the impacts that kids are taking, the brain that's taking, players are bigger, they're faster. You just want to minimize the damage from those hits. And over a period of time, Dr. Kelly said to me, he said, Pat, knowing what I know about testing and science, if you were wearing this helmet for your 15-year career, you would have had a minimum of 50% less damage than you did, and you wouldn't have probably had to retire. So from that perspective, science and testing and technology, my goal is to not see any other players have to go through that or younger kids go through that. Your head is the most important part of your body, and you need to protect it.
100% as Pat Lafontaine joins. Now, Pat, when I'm looking at the helmet, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I notice, because I'm thinking of my young son, and when I put up his helmet, his strap from the cage to the back of the helmet, it's usually on the very bottom of it. Yours is now in the middle of the cage and kind of almost the middle of the back of the helmet. Is that design just a different design, or is there something with safety in mind there?
They do reach around the back too. So what we did was we actually have a cage that just got certified. And so it is a traditional cage that comes around to the back. But what we did do, because there's so many face protections, cages, as we call them, the fish bowls, as they call them, the visors, we actually created all different size adjusters and spacers that go into the box with the helmet, so that any face protection would be able to fit onto that Valor helmet. So that was important because we know kids and players at all different levels, and whether they have cages, visors, or those plastic fish bowls, as we call them, that they'll be able to fit.
Have you spoke to NHLers? Or do you see some of them starting to wear this helmet?
I believe they will. We're in the process of doing that now. I think at every level, you need to protect your head. I think that traditionally speaking, there's been different helmets over the years. One that I always remembered, and I've learned the story now, and I've always admired Stan Mikita, but I never realized Stan was the one who got Marquise Martin, who eventually was part of Lockheed Martin, to design that Northlands helmet. You remember Stan Mikita wore it, Larry McDonald wore it, Dennis Potvin wore it.
Yeah.
That was actually a one-piece rounded, semi-rounded shell that when people look back, that was state-of-the-art as far as protection. That was actually a pretty good helmet. And then we got away from that. And, one of the things I would say is if two-piece, and nothing against, because I wore them for my career, but if two-piece helmets were really that good and that protective, I always ask, why isn't the NFL, why isn't Major League Baseball, motocross, lacrosse, why aren't they in two-piece helmets?
Yeah. Oh, it makes sense. Well, when you put it that way, it does make a lot of sense, for sure. Looking kind of at the evolution of this, Pat, how long has this project gone on for you guys to finally come up with the Valor Axiom helmet?
It's taken me 6 years. Dr. Kelly and I first started this around 2004. We were going to try to do a helmet. There was an issue with this Zorbian material and a patent pending issue. So we weren't able to do this one type of helmet. So we came back around 2015, 16, 17, started talking again. And then around 2017, we really started making a commitment to say, how can we make a really good helmet? And somebody, I guess as athletes, I was challenged. They said, you'll never be able to crack the 5-star code. And I said, really? And I said, everybody always told me I was too small. I was from St. Louis. I'd never play at a high level. And you know what, Dr. Kelly and I, we got some friends, a real lean team, a helmet maker, and we went for it. And the exciting thing is it's the only 5-star helmet since 2017. And we weren't going to compromise on safety. I would say to you that your hands, your other areas, your shoulders, we protect all parts of the body, but you can't compromise on your head. And I think we have to continue to make, the game safer, elevate the game. And I think Valor is all about inspiring the game, protecting the game, and elevating the sport. And we're excited. We're excited to be a part of it. And from my perspective, it's a give back. I'm grateful but I always want to try to leave it better than I found it.
Pat Lafontaine is our guest today, the Valor Axiom helmet. You can go to their website, valorhockey.com is where you can see it. Obviously comes in lots of different colors, and away you go. They'll ship it to you here. They have stores in Toronto, and I'm assuming United Cycle and other places will get the Valor in rather soon. Before I let you go, Pat, I do want to ask, obviously one of the most iconic calls ever from your friend Rick Jeanneret had to be the Lafontaine, right up there with, of course, the Brad May Mayday one. Give me your thoughts on Rick Jeanneret and just kind of what it meant as a player when you would go back and maybe hear some of his calls.
Well, we miss him already. He was an icon, and every time I hear his voice, I get excited, or it's just not hockey without Rick Jeanneret. One of my favorite stories was listening to Danny Kerr tell the story as he was in the booth, and Rick doesn't prepare for any of this. This was the very first goal, and the great Dale Howardchuk, God bless him. He was the one who made the pass to me as my first goal, and as Danny Kerr says, all of a sudden Rick grabs everybody and takes his two arms and holds everyone back and just started the la 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 la. And it just came out and it stuck. And before you know it, just about anywhere I go, I hear somebody doing the La 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 Fontaine. And you know what? He was just one of a kind. He was an icon. We miss him already. And I feel blessed to have known him and be a part of listening to the years. Sometimes I just put on his greatest calls just because he was that good. And I don't think there'll be another one close to Rick Jeanneret.
No, he was very unique. Now, there are leagues out there that have you have to use certain equipment, right? I know even in the Alberta Junior Hockey League right now, it's CCM only. Is that going to be one of the bigger challenges moving forward to get it into a lot of the contact leagues? Is just how some of them have those type of deals with certain leagues, with certain suppliers.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I mean, listen, we're happy to be a part of the sport and the product industry area. Our goal is just to make them as safe as we can. If we can continue to elevate and build on where we are, we're talking to a lot of stores to get them in to Christmas for Christmas time or sooner. And a lot of the bricks and mortar stores right now we're selling online. But yeah, we're going to build the company, grow the company. I think one of the other things I'll share with you is the brand ethos really stands for all forms, all surfaces, all levels, and all communities. So we embrace, street hockey, ball hockey, roller hockey, sled hockey, women's hockey, obviously. And it's not just the ice piece of it. We just think if you're playing hockey, and as you know, Connor Bedard's a big roller hockey player. There's a lot of ball hockey and street hockey. We want to celebrate all forms and elevate all forms. And one of the things we did was we have 4 of our colors in a matte finish, which is kind of unheard of. So we have a stealth black, we have this polar white matte, and then we've done a light blue, Valor blue, and we've done a runoff gray that we've done, which look really cool. And so it's not just ice hockey, which obviously is the biggest part of the sport, but we're really, really into celebrating all forms and all surfaces.
Great stuff, Pat. Continued success. We'll watch to see how the Valor goes and what the response is from people who wear it. Thanks so much for your time.
Great. Thanks so much for having me.
Pat Lafontaine, Valor. Now, it's like anything new that comes out. The price seems a little high right now. No question about that. But usually that's how it seems to be with things. Obviously, you get more distribution, then it goes down a little bit. Obviously there's going to be some people that, the price tag in Canada anyway, looks like it's like $450. So now some would say, hey, you know what? Can you put a price on safety? Probably not. But there is the financial wherewithal that we can't overlook. So I will be interested to see kind of how that goes long term. That will be a concern for some, but he makes a very valid point. And think about the XL7. You think about the old Lanny McDonald, Mike Foligno helmets. The one piece makes way more sense when you think about it from just a scientific standpoint. So you wonder, Bauer, CCM, when are they going to jump on board to say, hey, this is what we should be doing, right? That's normally what's going to happen, right? If it gets proven that it works and you start to make a dent in the market, well, then the other ones will have no choice but to follow, and it makes it safer for everybody involved. But when you consider that motocross and football, which is way more contact. Even heck, baseball helmets are one piece, right? Rather than two put together. So it makes sense. We'll come back. Cam Tate is feeling healthy. He will join us. We got Bronte and more on Edmonton Sports Leader, Sports 1440.
Bringing every project to life requires the right team. By joining the Japa Machinery Group service or sales teams, you can be part of setting a new industry standard. Celebrating a legacy of excellence with Japa. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
Hey everyone, it's Kelly here from United Sport and Cycle. United's annual Hockey Days sale is on now. Save up to 20% off on skates, 25% off on equipment, and 35% off on all Pro Stock sticks. United Sport and Cycle, your home of hockey for over 95 years.
If you have mobility issues, a residential elevator can allow you to enjoy your home for longer, but finding the right elevator or lift can be daunting. RAM Elevators and Lifts can get you started with 3 simple questions. What kind of space are you installing the elevator in? How far does it need to travel? And are you interested solely in function, or is the look of your lift important? Make your home more accessible with grounded simplicity, elevated design. Learn more online at trustram.com.
Rodeo clowning felt like an exciting opportunity. Boy, was I ever wrong. The bulls. So predictable. But you know what's exciting and unpredictable? PlayAlberta.ca. I can bet on any sports game, play online casino games anytime, and buy lottery tickets anywhere.
PlayAlberta.ca. Go all in on excitement. Sign up today and get over $100 in welcome bonuses. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
Some things just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. Your love for the game and Papa John's passion for better ingredients, better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any regular menu price order. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. That's Sports20.
Yeah.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. They've continued developing tools and are excited to announce their newest design, battery-powered nut runners. 4 models from 500 to 3,000 foot-pounds with more on the way. Learn more at cantork.com.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Collab creations, bump like agony, no doubt. I put it down, never slouch. As long as my credit can vouch, a dog.
We roll through Monday afternoon. Sports 1440. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you. Gregor Show is always presented by PlayAlberta.ca. And now let's get to he's back. Feeling good after a little struggle with pneumonia for a short period of time. But Cam Tate joins us. For those who don't know, Cam joins us every Monday and Friday on the show. Cam was born with cerebral palsy. He's in a wheelchair. And he is, I know he'll speak clearly all the time. He's always wanted to be on radio. He's a funny dude. He's been a long time writer, journalist in the city. So we have him giving us the 2-minute warning every Monday and Friday with the wonders of technology.
The 2-minute warning with Cam Tate. Monday, October 16th, I'm Brian from VoxBox reading Cam Tate's words. The easy thing to do this Monday is to go on at lengths about the winless Edmonton Oilers or how the Edmonton Elks gave up thousands of first-half points and lost Saturday. But sometimes in life, even sports, we need to talk about loss, gifts given, and celebrate a life well lived, then creating a legacy. Sean Dunham. Name ring a bell? Probably not. But if you've been watching sports for the last few decades, Sean and his steady hand and trained eye has given you and I the best seat in the house for hundreds of hockey, football, Olympic games, and more. Sean was on the main camera for years at Rexall Place, Rogers Place, and Commonwealth Stadium. Television camera operators. They get to the games hours before, have meetings, rehearsals before capturing the game itself. And when the headsets come off at the end of the game, camera operators don't make a parking lot dash to go home. No. They hunker down for a few more hours, rolling up endless kilometers of cable, stowing countless technical gizmos safely in a truck. Another setup, another pre-production meeting, another game, another tear down. Shawnee was one of the best. Sadly, we lost him recently. cancer to those fortunate enough to experience the behind the scenes of a television sports production in Edmonton. We will miss that hearty hello, that undeniable work ethic, and that oh-so grin that kept us all on our toes waiting for a crackerjack one-liner. We send our love and best wishes to Shawnee's family. So next game we watch, let's give the television set a little hug and steady it, just like Sean Dunham. On the Jason Gregor Show, Mondays and Friday. This is the 2-minute warning with Cam Tate on Sports 1440.
Really good piece by Cam. I think, you know what, the behind-the-scenes people in sports probably don't give it nearly as much love as they do. So, well said, Tater. Very well said. And we pass on our condolences as well to hear from everybody at Sports 1440. Let's get now to the oil report brought to you by Volvo Cars Edmonton. Stop in right now. You want a new vehicle? You want a demo? You want a previously certified owned vehicle from Volvo? Well, guess what? 1.49% financing. Can't get a better deal. Check it out, VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. As we welcome to the show, Ruben Bronte, a.k.a. Robin Brownlee. And Rube's a real good message there by Tater. You know, obviously there's bigger things in life than losing in sports, but sports fans, specifically Oiler fans, a little concerned with the start here. I don't think it's major concern, but it is obviously the worst possible start the Oilers could have. Not only are they 0-2, but their goalie save percentage is .750. They've only scored one goal 5-on-5. Like, they got a lot of areas here they got to improve.
Yeah, I don't think you need to jump up and down and panic. You know, to me, Jason, and I think to most people, there's a middle ground. It's not, oh, don't worry, nothing to worry about, because there actually are a couple of things to worry about that they're doing and not doing. And then the other thing is, oh, blow it up, it's in the toilet, they're finished. No, neither one of those extremes applies, but there is some stuff in the middle that's interesting. The even strength scoring is a problem, again, early on. Every one of these is obviously early on. I'd like to see I call it a timely save. Some people call it a big save from one of the goaltenders. They haven't been awful, but they haven't given the team that, yeah, that's what we need. And the puck goes up the other way and goes in the net. And you know what? The thing is, they've got to straighten it out in time, because you don't want to go to Nashville and Philly, because then, it's early. It's not so early if you're 0-3 or 0-4. And there's some things they got to check out for sure.
I look at, like, to me, now, it looked like it was Stuart Skinner, but the other day, I have no idea. Woodcroft likes to play little games. He never tells you who's the goalie. Stuart Skinner was in the goalie's net, and then Campbell started game one, so I have no idea. But based on how they play, you'd have to go to Campbell, do you not?
I would think so. I mean, but I don't, like a lot of people, Jason, I don't have any luck figuring out that position. I mean, I made a joke earlier. If I knew goaltenders, Jeff Delorier would be in the Hall of Fame by now, right? I mean, I liked him as a goaltender. For this specific situation, I would think it's Campbell, but I thought it would be Campbell the second game to throw him right back in there, given his problems of the past, with confidence. I think what you say with Campbell is, you don't say, oh, we still got your back, kid, but go sit down by the stick rack there. I would have said, we still got your back, kid, get back in there. But they didn't. So I would start him against Nashville. That doesn't mean Jay Woodcroft feels the same way.
Would you put Desharnais back in the lineup, or would you just stick with the same lineup?
Well, I don't know that Desharnais makes as much of a difference as what we're seeing if Woodcroft sticks with these line changes. I never get too excited about line changes, because often they last for 2 shifts or 2 periods, and then you go back to what you're were at before. I like Desharnais. I like what he brings to the game. When you're 0-2, you could argue there's no reason why you wouldn't make a change to change things up a little bit. But you know what? They're not getting dominated in any one aspect of the game. They are not scrambling around like crazy, giving up quality chances and being hemmed in their own end. Desharnais, sure. I didn't particularly like the way Nurse played on that one goal, but it's one play. You're not taking him out, so you're going to put him in your bottom pairing. Sure, it wouldn't hurt, but I don't think that's a major change. I look at these lines and wonder, all right, if we're going to get Kane, McDavid, and Draisaitl, that's a change that grabs me, only because it's the old let's power up mode. If you're talking about a video game, put those two guys together. I wonder about Foegele on that second line. I like that third line pretty much so far, and that changes now.
Yeah, well, maybe it's to get Brown going. I didn't see very much from him in the first 2 games. I'd like to see a little bit more from him. Well, really, I could argue about a lot. Like, heck, Connor McDavid 5-on-5 doesn't have a point in 2 games. Yeah. So, you know what? I know that people are like, oh, my goodness. But, hey, Connor McDavid's got to do more than he's done 5-on-5. Obviously, on the power play, and the power play is going to score. Like, no one's shutting down the power play for long stretches. It's not happening. They're just too good. But 5-on-5, they're going to go. And I think McDavid and Draisaitl together, and we've seen this in the past, you put them together, they get some points, they feel good, and even the best players in the world need to maintain their high level of confidence. And so you put them together. It's Nashville, where Draisaitl has feasted on them as of late, and it's a younger team now. And I know they've had UC Saros there, but doesn't matter. Draisaitl scored against Nashville for fun lately, which is crazy. But I think, hey, you know what? Get those guys off to have a good game. You can easily separate them. They'll be fine. But I do think you even want, as crazy as it sounds, is you got to get your best player going 5-on-5. So why not put them together? I don't mind that move, actually, for a game.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I think it's an indication of what's not going right, and what's not going right, aside from McDavid's production at this point, and that's not insignificant. He's your best player, although it always feels a bit weird to point at Connor McDavid, given that he's going to be fine. What I wonder about is when you got a top 6 and you've got Evander Kane and Connor Brown not getting much done. When that's 2 out of 6 guys, it forces the coach's hand, and that's what I think that's what we're seeing now. I haven't much like Brown. I didn't expect him to come out and dominate it. I mean, let's be honest. He got into 4 games last season. It's going to take him some time, just as it's going to take Matthias Ekholm some time. He showed the rust, or whatever you want to call it, just that he hadn't had a camp and hadn't had a preseason. He goes a little slow going to the outside on that goal. He got there, but he didn't get there with any force, and he didn't get there soon enough to prevent the shot on that goal. He's going to be better. I mean, he was better for all 21 games he played when he came over last season. But these are things, when you stack them up all at the same time, and then you get off to the 0-2 start, that's what gets people buzzing. I'm not going to be the don't worry guy, but I'm also not going to be the sky is falling guy. I'm right in the middle, and let's see what they do in Nashville.
Rubes, good stuff, buddy. We will chat with you on Thursday. Have a good one.
I shall. And by the way, Jason, I really wish I would have had one of those Valor helmets in the 70s, because it sounds like a pretty good deal.
They would have had to make a few extra large ones then. I'm not sure they would have fit.
I knew you'd go that way.
It's too easy. It's too easy. But it would be, hey, you know what? Pat Lafontaine's done a lot of work in it, and in theory, it makes sense. And it's funny how we've seen the one-piece helmets before, and then they've kind of went away from them. And so, we'll see if it comes back in. I think ultimately, to make it something more people are going to wear, it's going to have to lower down in price. 459 bones Canadians going to be a tough pill to swallow. But lots of time, things are higher when they first come in, and then they go down. So we'll see where it goes. Rubes, have a good one.
Okay, man.
That's Robin Brownlee, a.k.a. Ruben Bronte. We'll get to Connor Halley and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by BIE Engineering. Specialize in all your residential, commercial, and industrial structural engineering needs. Go to BIEENG.com.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Week 6 in the NFL wraps up tonight as the LA Chargers hosting the Dallas Cowboys. That one gets going at 6:15. You can join me at the Fort Sask Canadian Brewhouse for a chance to qualify for a trip for two to the Super Bowl in Las Vegas. The Oilers off tonight ahead of their matchup with the Preds tomorrow at 6, but 5 games on the ice. You've got the Leafs taking on the Blackhawks, Devils hosting the Panthers, the Coyotes in New York taking on the Rangers, the Flames will battle the Capitals, and Red Wings in Columbus. Seattle Kraken announcing that they'll be without the services of forward Brandon Tanev for 4 to 6 weeks with a lower body injury. Tanev suffered the injury during the team's 4-1 season opening loss to the Vegas Golden Knights. Major League Baseball playoffs right now. Game 2 of the ALCS. The Rangers lead the Astros 4-0. That's in the bottom of the first. Texas also leads that series 1-0. And later tonight, 6:07 to be specific, Diamondbacks and Phillies kick off the NLCS. So a 1 game in the AJ tonight as Calgary hosts Whitecourt. That one's starting at 7. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by our co-host, Terry Ryan. I'm Connor Halley, and this has been a Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Established in 2001 right here in Edmonton, Corporate Business Solutions has grown to become the largest Konica Minolta digital office equipment dealer in Western Canada. Office technologies may have changed over the past 22 years, but Corporate Business Solutions continues to provide guaranteed same-day service to local businesses right here in Edmonton. Our customers' loyal support has allowed Corporate Business Solutions to provide the service they deserve. Call 780-490-5600 or visit cbsca.com.
Christensen Communities, the name in active adult living. Enjoy retirement living without compromise. At Christensen, we understand that each lifestyle is unique. We are committed to providing choice through optional dining, personal services, recreation programs, and care plans to suit your current and future needs. Enjoy maintenance-free living and build new friendships in a safe, independent community. Large suites with full kitchens and in-suite laundry, on-site amenities, and so much more. Find out more today about our communities across the province at cdlhomes.com.
No project too difficult. No problem too complex for Action Electrical. Edmonton's leading electrical contractor is a family-run business since 1973 and proud to offer complete commercial electrical services of the highest quality. When you need a contractor to design, build, implement, and maintain complex systems or emergency electrical assistance, help is here with the professionals. Book a service call at actionelectrical.net today. That's actionelectrical.net.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Ding, ding. The champ is back in the ring going toe-to-toe with the best flock and chicken wing special in town. Only at the Canadian Brewhouse. A minimum 1 pound order ain't no problem for the champ when they're only 69 cents all day Wednesday and all day Sunday. 2 days to enjoy one unbeatable offer on wings. With featured wing flavors of the month, Wednesday and Sundays just became a very serious wing thing. Both days, all day, 69 cents only at the Canadian Brewhouse.
What's cracking at Cattail Crossing Golf and Winter Club? Kick off your week with unbeatable savings. Enjoy half-price golf from Monday to Thursday. Elevate your game without emptying your wallet. Book your tee time today. cattailcrossing.ca.
You can't predict exactly how your harvest will go. So here's the next best thing. InVigorResults.ca. Featuring localized and replicated trial results, you can see how InVigor canola hybrids could perform in your fields. But more importantly, the results demonstrate our consistent track record and undisputed leadership, giving you the confidence to flex your harvest muscle season after season. Go to InVigorResults.ca to see results in your area today.
When Ottawa's proposed electricity regulations make electricity unaffordable, you may have to make some hard choices.
Winter boots for my kids.
Groceries for my family.
Our mortgage. My rent.
Braces.
A rainy day fund.
Visit tellthefeds.ca to learn why your power bill could be 4 times higher than today. And tell the feds, affordable and reliable electricity matters. A message from the Government of Alberta.
Weiss Johnson, whoa.
Hi, Dennis from Weiss Johnson. Can you believe that summer is over and fall is here? With that in mind, we are offering free furnace upgrades from Daikin, should you be looking to get a new furnace. This means getting a better model of furnace that provides you greater comfort at a lower price. Plus, Daikin has the best warranty in the business. There's never a better time to get a new Daikin furnace from Weiss Johnson. We know how important a good furnace is in Edmonton, so don't procrastinate as this is a limited time offer. Visit wjheats.com today.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Japa Machinery. Japa is digging deep on their 50-year history of supporting Alberta's construction industry with their line of special edition blackout excavators. Visit japamachinery.com for all the details.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Maybe you can drive my car, and maybe I love you. I told that girl that my prospects were good. She said, baby, let's understand.
Just after 3 o'clock. How are you? Welcome back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, coming to you live, also on Oilers Nation YouTube. You can get in the chat there. You can text us, 833-401-1440, our Jiffy Lube inbox. And we welcome to the show our regular Monday and Thursday co-host. He was a first-round pick of the Montreal Canadiens, played minor pro in the NHL, in AHL, of course, in the NHL. He is a world champion in ball hockey. Stars on the hit show Shoresy that is currently in season number 2 with rumors of a potential filming for season number 3 coming out. Terry Ryan joins us. TR, how are you?
I'm not bad. How are you doing out there, Jason?
Living the dream, buddy. Living the dream, you know. Not as happy as Hitch, but I'm all right.
Hitch is pretty happy, isn't he? Especially nowadays. Little birdie told me it looks good that we might be shooting season 3 soon, so I'm looking forward to it. If it happens.
Nice! I like it. I like it a lot. So, you know what? As you would know, when you played in Shoresy, you don't always get off to a great start. Sometimes it's super early in the season, but the Edmonton Oilers came in with a lot of hype. They're 0-2. Buffalo's 0-2. Florida's 0-2. The Kings are winless. Seattle's actually 0-2-1, and they can't score to save their life. You know, and then you got other teams at the top that are 2-0 and winning, and everything's happy. But, you know, we'll start in Edmonton because they're 0-2, and their goalies have a .750 save percentage. And I know it's not all on the goalies, but come on, at some point, you got to make a save.
Totally. And it's 2 games. It seems to me like one large 6-period game. They're getting a little bit better. They're coming back. The goalies can be better. I mean, they're going to have to be. They're NHL goalies, right? Like, same thing with – and a lot of these defensive plays, I mean, like, I don't know. I'm sure you've talked about it, the Darnell Nurse pinching for absolutely no reason.
Mm-hmm.
And the puck coming around the board. Like, the way that whole play happened, again, looked like minor hockey. You don't see that in the NHL much. So they're better than that. It's just mistakes, and, you know, some are getting by them. I think Lafferty went around Ekholm, didn't he? Describe me. That won't happen much. I just think there's a lot of things that are outliers, and the Oilers are the Oilers. For me, if I was disappointed in anything, I picked a great start for Connor Brown playing with McDavid. I know they played together in junior, and I thought maybe Brown, coming off a real rough look last year, would rebound quicker. But, you know, he played 4 or 5 games last year, and I think it's just kind of a metaphor for everything. Kane didn't play a lot either. He was injured a lot. You know, these are going to be impact players, I truly believe. Fogel's put up the second line, is he, today, I think? I just read before I came on.
Yeah.
I thought the third line was probably their best line. So, you know, but I do see the reason to shake it up. I think if you let it go that, you know, it'd even itself out. But 2 games, I mean, you want to do something. I don't see the last of those experiments. I think that, you might go back there depending on how they do. I mean, I love having Draisaitl and McDavid on one line as a fan, but I don't know, sometimes it does take away from the depth and throw everything else off, you know?
Well, I look at it this way. If, Nugent Hopkins, Hyman, Fogle, Brown, McLeod, like you got to get some offense. They don't need to score a lot, but they need to score some, right? And the Oilers have one goal, and it happened in the first shift of the second game. So basically in the 60 before, and then the minutes after that, they've done nothing offensively. And really, when you look at how they scored that goal, Terry, there was like hammering around at the goalie. DeSmith is flopping all over. He's like a fish on the harbor. And then finally they're able to just bang it home. It was not pretty, but that's the guy who scored the most goals in the NHL the last 5 years, and he's right around the crease. And I just don't see enough of that from Edmonton. I've always felt like, yeah, they can score a lot of pretty goals, but I'd like them to see it get a little bit greasier. Like they put a lot of shots on net, but they didn't have a lot of second, third, fourth opportunities. And usually if you get enough of those, you'll bang one in. Like I didn't even see the puck cross the line, but we know it went in because the signal went, right? So to me, I feel as much as there's the focus on the goalies, and I think that's fair, Darnell Nurse, the funny thing is Nurse in his own zone was good, but that was a terrible pinch in the offensive zone. And you know what? The Oilers just, they got to get something going 5-on-5. And to me, both ends of the rink, Terry, like they're not tough enough around the to score goals. And I've seen 3 goals in 2 games where guys are getting deflections. The defenseman's standing right beside him. He's got no stick on him.
Yeah, it's funny. I watched with my dad. We watched a replay of the game the next day because it was late here. And he said, you know what? But the Oilers, they always leave you wanting more. And I agree. It's like of one team, because the expectations are, I mean, obviously they're mountainous at this point, but they kind of should be. They do have the best players in the world, and a lot of people picked them to win the cup. So, yes, it is early, but that's a fact. They do, and over the course of the last few years, having watched them closely, they often leave you wanting more. And it's this first couple games, it's an odd mix of, like you said, like there's something, you got to be a little bit more tenacious, whether it's in the corners or down low, or there's something missing, and they're squeezing the stick. It's not going in, so they're also squeezing and kind of, last minute making plays that they probably wouldn't. I mean, collectively. And it's almost, you can't quite put your finger on it offensively, but to me, it's like a pot that's ready to boil over. I really do think it's coming, but they need definitely more grit from guys down low, and it was ironic that the goal that they did get, even strength, was one of the best players in the world just digging, and anybody could have scored it. But, they need more of that.
I would agree with you that it's probably coming, right? And that's why I think, outwardly they're very patient. And maybe even inwardly, I don't think they're going to panic after 2 games. They were 1-2 last year. They were 10-10, and then they went on a pretty good final 62-game stretch. But I think the reason that it's fair for some people to be concerned is the things we're talking about are many of the similar things we've talked about before in the past, right? Making a big glaring error at the wrong time. Like if Darnell Nurse is pinching and he's the only defenseman pinching in, you're like, okay, but he's the far defenseman on the left side. The puck's on the right side. He can't be pinching down low. He just can't, right? Like, so that's not a good play. And then you look at some of their other plays, like in front of the net where they've gotten beat twice. Like and Edmonton has better forwards top to bottom than Vancouver. And I would argue that Edmonton has 1 through 6 a better defense score than Vancouver. But you didn't see Edmonton blow by one of the Vancouver guys and score. But that's what Vancouver did. So I just think some of the individuals in Edmonton all can play a little bit better.
Yeah, and they're glaring mistakes. They can definitely, which again, if it's mistakes, the weird part about it is that it's consistent over years, right? And that's odd because a mistake for a good player happens here and there. But, when you're watching it, it's almost glaring. It's almost like they're daring you to point out the faults. If you had a chalkboard, you could be there all day if you or chalkboard video. If you're in the video room, chalkboard. If
maybe the old ones are still bringing a chalkboard in. Hey,
that's what popped into my head. But you know what I mean. This is easy stuff. It's so obvious that I wouldn't even replay it. You just go, you can't do that. Obviously, you don't need to slow down this tape. They're glaring, but they're NHL veterans, and It's early on, and sometimes I find that can happen as a result of being overprepared or too much pressure, because it appears they're not focused. But sometimes you're squeezing the stick. I don't know. I mean, these guys are NHL players that clearly proved, even guys like Bouchard, I know he's young, and I keep hearing that. I know he is, but I don't know. For the last 30 games last year, I saw a guy who's one of the best defensemen in the NHL. Screw it, turn the key in your head, get out there, play, bring your lunch pail, and, try to get out there and not make so many blatant mistakes, number one. But, again, I do think, I think it's early. I think these guys will fix it. I don't think I'm alone in saying that, but with the line changes, not that you asked, but with the line changes, I almost see this as a positive thing. You shuffle the board a little bit, and not only that, even if you were to take Nurse and put him down on the third pairing, I mean, who knows? You can mix it around, but I think they have the same bag of tricks that pretty much they're going to go into the playoffs with. Some teams are going to be in the playoffs, but they got a lot of moves to make. I thought going in that the Oilers were pretty set, but we'll see, I guess. It's a little bit of a panic, but no panic button, as they say.
Yeah, I think Edmonton, they are going to make some moves. The number one thing is how confident are they in their goaltending come the trade deadline? And if they have to make a move, then they'll make a move. I think they'll see how their right defense shapes up come the deadline. They might look to make an acquisition there. And I still think they want a right-shot fourth-line center. I think that's the one obvious thing right now that they lack. I don't think you want 4 lefties. It just helps you at certain times to get a good right-shot center. I think that'd be something that they look at. And I don't think Ken Holland will sit on his hands at the deadline. And we'll see where it goes. But it's interesting. Like, they go to Nashville now, Terry. You get on a road. It's a weird road trip. It's only Nashville and Philly, right? So it's not like they're close. It's pretty far just to go for a 2-game road trip, and then they come all the way back. But sometimes just getting on the road is better for guys. Right? Can you explain why getting on the road is better sometimes for teams?
Because you're forced to hang out together. And I find that a lot of the time, especially when you get to the NHL and you're in a market like Edmonton, or any market that you're expected to win, a Canadian market obviously magnified, and you have great players, because you might say that you're not, but you're feeling the pressure a little bit. You have to be, right? It not only personal pressure, but team pressure. I don't want to let people down getting out there. There's a vibe, the longer you go without scoring, and what we're doing now, right? The critique nationally about your team and everything surrounding it. And then you go on the road, and you go to Mort's Steakhouse or something. You have a steak with the boys and have a chat. And it seems like the furthest thing from your mind, and you get out there, and now you really are set to play because you're playing for the boys, for your teammates, and it's not so much to answer critics. It's a mishmash of those things. I'm probably not doing a great job explaining it, but it's a disconnect from the pressures of the everyday, like internal and external pressures of playing at home. You go on the road, and not only that, but Nashville and Philly are good players. I used to like the places. They got a lot of character, those places.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what? Even if you might go out to a diner and see a little bit of what Nashville got to offer that day. And it's just, for me, it takes your mind away from the obvious, and sometimes you need that. It also brings the team together because, like I said, you're forced to hang out.
Terry Ryan, Jason Gregor with you on Sports 1440. Guys, just a question. Love the mighty all I heard all summer was how the team talk and captain skates about more team defense and new systems. I haven't really seen anything different. Am I just not that attentive? From Steve from Drumheller. Well, they do have the 1-1-3 in the neutral zone. Here's the thing. The reason you haven't seen a ton of defensive zone difference because the Oilers really haven't been in the defensive zone. If you go look, and I timed it, go look at Vancouver's goals. Terry, they're coming in one-shot goal. Right? They're either scoring off the rush or they're scoring on the power play, which isn't going to change as far as a 5-on-5 defensive system. But Edmonton actually hasn't spent a lot of extended time in their defensive zone. So I don't really believe they're struggling with their structure. They're just still struggling. Like, they've given up 4 goals already off the rush. They've given up 4 power play goals. They had the 1 deflection. Okay, but they haven't really it's 5 goals off the rush, right? Like, they haven't really being bad defensively. It's more so rush goals or like a bad pinch by nil-advised pinch by Nurse. He didn't need to do it. It's not even a pinch because he wasn't going for the puck. He was just trying to jump up in the play. So it's funny. They haven't really had to play defense very often. They haven't struggled in that department. They've struggled off the rush way more.
Yeah. So, I mean, and Vancouver's been very opportunistic.
Yeah.
Say what I want about that first game. I mean, it's just something that just needs to be washed down the river. Like I said, lock it in a box and never revisit it. But the second one, I mean, I thought they could have won the game 5-2. They could have won that game. So that's why, for me, by the end of the year, do you think that the teams are going to score on 50% or close to their rushes? I don't think so. They're going to tidy that up a little bit. Again, it's not a cast of idiots. It's a cast of people that have played together for a while, that are well coached, that are well led, and we're talking about 120 minutes. Think about that, right?
Yeah, no, it's well said. Gregor and Ryan with you. We got Ryan's rants coming up. Andi Petrillo will be by. We got 5 questions. Also, we'll hear from Evander Kane next on The Gregor Show on Sports 1440 Live and Oilers Nation YouTube.
Corporate Business Solutions is celebrating 22 years of local service, local support, local always. Established in 2001, Corporate Business Solutions has grown to become the largest Konica Minolta digital office equipment dealer in Western Canada. When you call CBS, you'll always speak with a live person, just like you and your business deserve. Thank you to our loyal customers for their 22 years of continued support. Our success is owed to you. For local service, local support, local always. Call 780-490-5600 or visit CBSCA.com.
Our cars are our lifeline, and every now and then we need to take care of them too. Cochran's Automotive services your vehicle with pride. When you need to fix it up, bring the whole family fleet. Junior's WRX, Mom's MPV, Dad's 1500, or even Grandpa's old 88. All makes and models are welcome. Trust Cochran's Automotive to professionally repair your family's pride and joy. They've got you covered for Volkswagen diesel timing belts too. Call 780-452-5001.
A solid financial plan is made up of more than just investments. Investments are an important part, but you need a more comprehensive approach. Andy Akel at Weird Pearson Akel & Associates Private Wealth Management understands that. He can help build a plan that includes retirement, estate planning, personal insurance, tax strategies, and yes, investments. Talk to him today and see the difference a real financial plan makes. Weird Pearson Akel & Associates. Call 780-988-4119 or visit weirdadvisoryteam.com.
Storm chasing sounds exciting. Most days, though, it's a lot of standing in the rain. But you know what's exciting and dry? PlayAlberta.ca. With hundreds of new live tables, online casino games, and instants.
PlayAlberta.ca. Go all in on excitement. Sign up today with promo code Casino50 and get a $50 welcome bonus. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
Edmonton's premium live music and party venue is
On the Rocks.
Check out Bingo Tunes on Monday. Perform on the best stage in town with karaoke on Wednesdays. Learn how to salsa with Salsa Rocks on Thursdays. And every weekend, OTR goes live.
With your favorite bands on the OTR stage and DJ Kenny K.
For everything that's going on at On the Rocks, give us a follow.
Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
At On the Rocks, EDM.
Eat well, party hard.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks. Open every day till 2 a.m.
Japa Machinery Group knows that XCMG may not roll off the tongue, but Japa's team will help keep your construction jobs rolling on time and on budget with heavy equipment sales and rentals. Visit japamachinery.com to find out more.
At Fountain Tire, save big during our Road Ready sales event until October 21st. Who wouldn't want up to 25% on select tires and a bonus of $50 off any service? A lizard, maybe? Or a ghost? Restrictions apply, financing available. Book your appointment at fountaintire.com.
Denim Ford's roots run deep in the history of Central Alberta. Like always, you can experience the same honest pricing and honest service that you've come to expect from all of us at Denim Ford for the past 65 years. Denim Ford is proud to be Canada's only 50-time President Award-winning dealership in customer satisfaction, treating every customer like family. Visit Denim Ford on the world-famous Wetaskiwin Auto Mile or from home at denimford.ca.
There's nothing like having a little skin in the game to make things interesting. But when a little skin becomes more than you can afford to lose, it's time to take a break from sports betting. Set a budget and stick to it. If you gamble, use your game sense.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Roger Weir and his team at Weir, Pearson, Akel and Associates Private Wealth Management, helping business owners and professionals build, protect, and enjoy their wealth. Earn more now and call Roger and his team at 988-4119.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Baby, I look around since city's cold and empty. No one's around to judge me. I can see clearly when you're gone.
It's a great song, man. Whew. Weekend. That guy can sing. ATR, big fan of The Weeknd.
Yeah, I really am, actually. It's a bit nostalgic, too. He's got a Michael Jackson kind of tone to his voice and an 80s feel to the music. And all while feeling really fresh in 2023. I really like The Weeknd.
No, I'm a huge fan of his, and I just love his whole meme from the Super Bowl. It's hilarious when he's in there with all the mirrors. God, that was funny. I looked like he couldn't get out. Jeez, like the orders were they were stuck in there trying to get out. Well, they were never even stuck in their own zone, just trying to eliminate the glaring error would probably be the thing. I do want to get your thoughts on their penalty kill, though, because that's been it was an issue in the first 15 games last year and basically derailed them all year long. They got better as the year went on, but their overall percentage never got better. Like, you dig too deep of a hole on a PK like that where you're 70% over a 15-game period, it's just too hard. Like, even if you go to 82 the rest of the way, you still end up at 74, 75 like they did. And so that's an area we'll talk about in a sec. But first, we're going to go in the room, brought to you by Next Gen Transportation. Heavy haul transport provider, 100% locally owned and operated, and proud to partner with the MyShack group of companies. And when you look at in the room today with Next Gen, talk to Evander Kane, and it looks like Evander Kane might be the benefactor. He was skating on a line with Draisaitl and McDavid, and here is Evander Kane. First of all, just kind of what did he absorb from the first two games?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely I hate to say more of an urgency, obviously, when you lose two early on in the season to start than there might be in January, as you mentioned. But, at the same time, I think it's a good opportunity for us to understand, we can lose two in a row, but we can't make it three. So, you obviously want to get off to a good start. We put in a lot of work during the camp to try to get off to a good start. We haven't played our best hockey, and we have an opportunity to go on the road and try to get one to start and try to even it up for the season coming home.
So you look and it's early on, and you guys have had a lot of shots, but only the one goal in the first shift of the game, 5-on-5. Scoring isn't easy, but it's kind of looked easy for this group the last few years. So how do you get your 5-on-5 back to where you want it to?
Well, it definitely needs to get back to where we want it to. But, I think even if you look at last year, obviously we had a historical power play and we relied a lot on our power play for goals. I think good teams and teams that go deep in the playoffs, which we've done, obviously, the past two seasons, they lead with their 5-on-5 scoring. And I think that's something that as a group we can get a lot better at from top to bottom. And it's something that we have to focus on and take a little bit more pride in producing 5-on-5 because it allows then those power play goals to be, that extra sauce on top. So obviously that's a big focus moving forward through the rest of the year for our group.
To not maybe go too in depth and give away state secrets or anything, but how do you make that more of an emphasis as a group other than talking about it?
Well, yeah, I mean, we had a lot of shots last game. I think we could have had more. I think, sometimes those B and C chances create, A chances. And I think if we do that a little bit more, that's it's going to break the other team's defensive systems down like it does to any team in the National Hockey League. And it creates more space and it allows you to free up your skill a little bit more to make secondary and plays off that. Which lead to those 5-on-5 goals. I mean, it's no secret how you score in this league. You get guys to the net, you shoot the puck, and you have some effort around the crease to put them home. So I think a little bit more of that in our team game will really help us grow as a team.
When you go to the net more, do you find, and you got a pretty big team in today's NHL, you got enough toughness, I think, to match most teams. Your team last year, when there seemed to be an emotionally heightened game, you played better. Do you guys do you sense that if we have a little bit more of that, it naturally, I don't know if guys get mad or angry, but they seem to be more involved?
I mean, I think so. I think, obviously we came out in that first game and laid an egg. I mean, Vinny got into a fight early on. There's some good emotion there. But, you look at how we started the last game, like a house on fire. And that's how we play. That's our team. We just have to sustain that type of effort and mindset throughout the course of the game. Obviously, alluding to the emotional games, we just got thumped by them. So obviously we're a little pissed off about that. We're going to come out the right way, and we did. And really, we played a good game for the most part. We just some individual mistakes and some uncharacteristic mistakes that, if they're going to happen, we rather have them happen early on in the season. That's what they were. We scored 3 goals. We can't expect to score 5 goals every game to win. We have to, at the end of the day, cut down the goals we give up.
Defensively has been a big focus for your team. You've only given up 48 shots in 2 games. So if you look at that number, you'd be like, it's pretty good. Now, there's a lot of goals that have gone in there. So are you still giving up too many grade A chances in your opinion? And as a team, do you need to be tougher on the opposition in front of the net?
For sure. I think that's probably the number one thing is just getting our competitiveness and our battle level up against the teams. We've done a good job in limiting opportunities and shots, but when we do give them up, guys seem to be wide open. And obviously we got beat in the first game, so it's a tough stat and have that be indicative of what our team looks like. But going back to the other night at home here, 2 tip goals. I know one's the power play, but we can't have guys with that much free time and space around our net.
Well, there's Evander Kane in the room, brought to you by Next Gen Transportation. And Terry, he talked about how, that a few things there that caught my eye. I liked his honesty. That's why I always like talking to Kane. He'll kind of tell you like it is. You know what? I thought we played a pretty good game. We had a few big individual errors. Obviously, the Nurse is one. They had another turnover on the second goal. You mentioned, Ekholm got beat wide 1-on-1 by Lafferty of all players. So some errors there. But he talked about taking pride in their 5-on-5 scoring. In player talk, what does that mean?
Taking pride in your 5-on-5 scoring. That's a great question. I think there's a few things, I suppose, but I think they just have to tighten it up. And I think they have to, there's certain things. They're known for it. So take pride in it because, they're one of the best scoring teams in the league, and it's obvious momentum. And I think it's something that they can do well, and they know it. I mean, you could tell, okay, let's say the Montreal Canadiens go out and take pride in your scoring. Okay, I mean, we'll try to get better. But the Oilers just set a record, right? Didn't they last year on the power play? Yep. I mean, people are talking about this year, possible McDavid. How many is he going to get? 150? Who says he's going to get 170? We're counting a lot of chickens here before they even remotely hatch. So I think, but one thing we do know is that I think he's saying we as a group, can put that puck in the net, and we can do it better than anybody. So let's start taking pride in that. And it's not just one way. Evander Kane is an example of a guy that scores in every different way known to man when it comes to, when it comes to hockey. But I mean, when it comes to skill, he's got it. But I love him coming out of he creates a lot of goals coming out of his own zone because he's great on the wall. And he gives it to McDavid or whoever's coming through. McDavid's obvious. And all of a sudden it's in the other end, and then he gets down there and he knows where to go. He's gritty. He's real good in the corners and in front of the net. But if you give him an odd man rush, he can just as easy to make a deke or put it upstairs. So, I guess it's kind of, crap or get off the pot kind of thing.
It is one, and I know you guys talk about it all the time. Go to the net, right? Because that's still right around the blue paint. That's where most of the goals are scored. But some teams don't do it. Like, I still watch how many times you'll see in the game when the Oilers defenseman has the puck at the blue line and there's no one within 6 feet of the net, right? Like it is. So are there certain drills you've had as a coach that can help drill that into players so it's be more of a natural? Because I think Edmonton has a lot of forwards who naturally do not gravitate towards going to the net.
Look, you're talking to me. That's one thing I don't understand. That's just, to me, it's just the law of average. It's math. It's not even hockey. It's math. What am I doing over here in the corner? If I go over here, the odds aren't now. I mean, the obvious adversity facing part of that. Get the marbles out of your mouth. The obvious part of that's going to be hard, that's going to create a little bit of tension, is the defenseman has a weapon you're allowed to hit, and it's not easy to go in front of the net.
Yes.
And, even tipping a puck, you might get it on there's all kinds of conflict when you get even close to the blue paint. But to me, it's obvious. I mean, I'm telling you, I've told this story a lot, or at least this philosophy, but I remember being in the Western League and just saying it to myself, going like, if I just go there, if I just show I can go there, and then guys like Strudwick or Belak or Brendan Witt or whoever, Nolan Baumgartner, all the best D in the league, if they just know it, I'm not saying any of them are going to be scared of me, but I'll get an extra fraction of a second if I just come back and I show them toughness during the year and I just go to that area. And that extra fraction of a second if I get to get a rebound, by the end of the year, I remember thinking in junior, 72 games, all those minutes, all that time in front of the net, I'm going to pop another 10 in. I'm going to have to. Right? I'm going to have to. 10's a joke, right? Like I said, Draisaitl, anybody could have scored that goal. Matthews just had 6 goals in 2 games. 2 of them, anybody could have scored. Your grandmother could have scored, right? It's just going there. If you're willing to take that beating, and, I don't know how to analytically look at that. There must be something that's glaring there because, guys that do it tend to score more, and it could be anybody. I remember having this conversation with you last year. Jonathan Marchessault is not a big guy. No. Why does he do well in the playoffs? Look at the goals. I don't even need to look. I just remember last year in the playoffs. Look at the goals he scored. They were from right there, 2-3 feet in front of the net. And, it's got to go in. It's mathematics.
Yeah,
eventually it has to go in.
I used him as an example in the first hour, Terry, where I said, look at Jonathan Marchessault. He's not the biggest guy, but he goes to the net. He goes to where the puck is, and he gets a lot of goals. Now, he can still score from distance. He's got some skill, right? So, which is great. But, I look at Hyman, and eventually he'll go there lots. But Fogle, and then you go there, but you have to go there with purpose. And I know there's been so much talk about the orders and the goaltending. We know the goaltending. Obviously, Captain Obvious. Hey, guess what, guys? They can't allow a .750 save percentage. Well, no bleep, Sherlock. I know that. But to me, this team, 1 goal, 5-on-5 in 2 games is unacceptable. But it's more unacceptable because it wasn't like it's this Vancouver team that, oh, geez, they're running out, the Blues Cup-winning defense or Tampa Bay's defense or Vegas's defense from last year. It was the Vancouver Canucks. They didn't even have Susie in the lineup. And you could you got lots of shots, but I like what Kane said. I don't think they penetrated enough. And that's one element. They got to be better. You got to, outside shots, great, but how many second and third dirty chances? And the Draisaitl goal is the prime example.
And not only that, though, right? Like you said, there's one thing. You go in the net, in front of the net, you're going to pay the price, but you're going to also make them pay the price. It's not easy for those guys either. Look, I remember talking to Sheldon Surrey, again, way, way, way back, right? But I remember him saying that. He's like, Noob, you were hard in front of the net. And I was like, geez, I always thought of it the other way around. I thought it was a walk in the park for you. You're sitting there with your stick ready to cross-check me. He's like, I know, but it's not easy, And we all got stories like that, any competitor. But when I look at it, I'm like, obviously, in the end of the game, you're going to wear those people down. It happens every year. And I don't know, an extreme example is the playoffs. But a lot of these players that play so much and they're so big and they're so imposing, and you assume that they're scaring everybody else. Yeah, but they get worn down, right? Mm-hmm. And this is obviously a small microcosm of that. We're 2 games in. It's the league or the season has just begun, but I really do believe in that. But by the end of the game, you're going to get, just by going to that area, you're going to get some more chances because the other players will be worn down as well. And you just need that oomph. You need that fight. You need that spit in you. And I can't remember a team winning the Stanley Cup without it, to be honest.
That's hard to do. Jason Gregor, Terry Ryan with you. Got a lot of text flying in. 833-401-1440 in our Jiffy Lube inbox. Hey, TR, can that start in practice? Does it? You have to just have those battle drills, or nowadays with so limited practice time, you can't do it? From Frank.
That's a great question, and yes, it can. Anybody who's played any level of it wouldn't even have to be pro, but just think about it. When you're at a level that there's a pregame skate, even you can tell. Sometimes you can cut the tension with a knife, and sometimes it's good tension. Like I said, I remember Saku Koivu saying that. He's like, we got a lot of pressure here, but it's how we harness the energy. How are we going to harness it? And you get out there and you know, or the day before in practice or coming off a loss. You know, like I said before, I was a guy that keeps the dressing room loose. Now, you wouldn't want to be in there and snapping on people and throwing daggers for no reason. You don't want to panic, but you also don't want to be there too loosey-goosey. You got a job to do. You can feel it. You can feel it, and you get out there, and that's another reason I love the road. Because you go on the road, you get up, you have your breakfast together, or most of you, and by the time you get to the rink, you know, you're putting your game face on, and it starts in the morning. There's a lot of distractions at home. But I really do find that. And yes, it can start in practice, and it most often does start in practice in my experience.
Good question. We'll come back. We got Ryan's rant, Andi Petrillo, and more on a busy Monday edition of the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440 and live on Oilers Nation YouTube.
How exciting is it to have Sports Talk Radio back in Edmonton?
Tie game, bottom of the ninth with the full count. The kick, the pitch. It's high. It's far. It is gone. Walk-off home run.
Yeah, it's pretty much like that. Edmonton Kubota is excited to welcome back Sports Talk Radio, Sports 1440. We'll be dialed in for every minute. Get it done, and then some at Edmonton Kubota. All compact BX tractors on sale with 0% financing for 84 months. Stop by on 128th Ave or visit edmontonkubota.com.
Ain't it beautiful? What does excellence mean to you, and how does it impact your decisions? Friends, it's Carrie Dahl, and I know that at Volvo Cars Edmonton, excellence isn't an option, it's their everything. From customer satisfaction in sales, service, inventory, and retention, they excel in all. Congratulations, Volvo Cars Edmonton, Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winners. Volvo of Edmonton.
Rodeo clowning felt like an exciting opportunity. Boy, was I ever wrong. The bulls. So predictable. But you know what's exciting and unpredictable? PlayAlberta.ca. I can bet on any sports game, play online casino games anytime, and buy lottery tickets anywhere.
PlayAlberta.ca. Go all in on excitement. Sign up today and get over $100 in welcome bonuses. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
Are you looking for an affordable business, group, or team outing this season? Why not catch the excitement of a game with 5-time Alberta Junior Hockey League champions, the Spruce Grove Saints? With extremely affordable group and suite packages available, and some of the lowest food and drink prices around, Saints games are the perfect night for your next group event. Get your group in on the action. For more information, visit sprucegrovesaints.ca.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is sounding the call. Don't struggle through winter with a furnace you can't trust. For maintenance before winter strikes,
call Legacy. Call Legacy.
For furnace tune-ups and repairs to give peace of mind,
call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Or to scrap your old furnace for a brand new high-efficiency one.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
And with no payments, no interest for 1 year on your new furnace, it's gotta be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
There's two seasons in Alberta, winter and construction. During these days of traffic barricades and slower commutes, GS Construction reminds you those crews are improving our communities. They're rehabilitating and upgrading Edmonton's infrastructure all across the city. When you see the barricades and run into a traffic backup, remember, the crews are there to help. Drive slow and be patient. Help make our city better and join the GS Construction team. See what they're hiring for on Indeed.com. GS Construction, laying the groundwork for your community since 1974.
The temperature's dropping, and so are the prices at Canadian Tire's biggest tire sale of the year. Save up to 25% on top brands like Motomaster, Bridgestone, and Michelin when you stop by Canadian Tire. Only from October 13th to November 2nd. Conditions apply. Details online.
Heading south? If you're an Alberta snowbird, we can help. Hi, Larry Ricci from Vision RV. We have the inventory, savings, financing, everything you need to get ready for your winter escape. Explore our big, bright showroom. Check out our 10 service bays and drive-through appointment bay. And say hi to the great staff in our parts department. You'll quickly see that you're in good hands with us. A new state-of-the-art facility with old-fashioned values and a commitment to customer service. Vision RV, just south of the Yellowhead on Highway 60.
There's nothing like having a little skin in the game to make things interesting. But when a little skin becomes more than you can afford to lose, it's time to take a break from sports betting. Set a budget and stick to it. If you gamble, use your game sense.
At Fountain Tire, save big during our Road Ready sales event until October 21st. Who wouldn't want up to 25% on select tires and a bonus of $50 off any service? A lizard, maybe? Or a ghost? Restrictions apply, financing available. Book your appointment at fountaintire.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by UL. From LED lighting audits and retrofits to design-built distribution systems, UL Service can give you the edge you need to impress your clients. EWEL.ca.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Hook me up a new revolution. This one is a lie. Sat around laughing and watched the last one die. Now I'm looking to the sky to save me.
3:44, lovely Monday afternoon. How are you? Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you. Declan Cougar running things at Order Nation YouTube for us today, as we're going to get to Ryan's Rant, brought to you by Action Electrical, the most diversified electrical contractor in Alberta, with 4 divisions and project, service, energy, and TAG, preventative maintenance for your electrical distribution. Learn all and use them now at actionelectrical.net. Here is Ryan's Rant.
Thank you for the lead-in, JG. So today, and it's kind of appropriate given what we've been talking about, but I often, on my podcast, I believe I definitely touch on it in my books, but I talk about how I think hockey is, I think it's the toughest game mentally and physically. At least it's right up there. And I get a lot of feedback. Some people are pretty upset. You know, they might say football. They might say basketball. There's definitely an underrated level of toughness under the hoop in basketball. But I'm just going to give you some reasons that I think hockey is the toughest, okay? And maybe the coolest. Okay, I wrote some stuff down, so I will combination read and comment. Here we go. So first off, I love the game, as much for the contrasting combination of skill and grit. It's got finesse and physicality. Even the sleekest, most non-physical player on any given team requires some level of quote-unquote toughness in their DNA just to be able to play so many games and endure so many hits, bumps, and bruises. The odd fight. I do think we have the most physically demanding game, and possibly mentally. Now, first of all, the physical play. Okay, if you're a good hockey player, you generally want the puck. If you have the puck, you're going to get hit. That's the nature of it. Stoppages of play stop the clock. The clock doesn't keep going. They don't last long. The average player is over 6 foot, over 200 pounds. You're skating, so you're going a little bit faster. And, of course, there's no out of bounds, right? So you're getting hit. You're getting hit hard. You're skating hard. And that no out of bounds is the biggest part of all of it, I think, because the boards are also hitting you, right? So you're almost getting hit twice. 80% of the time you're getting hit. Other sports, say basketball, and I do think basketball is underrated. Having gone to some live games, like they're big men, and under that hoop, there's a lot of elbows flying around. There's a lot of cheap shots, but I don't think it comes close to hockey. Baseball is baseball. 162 games, you got that. And I guess there's injuries created. You go from nothing to trying to steal second. You know, for example, there's a lot of downtime and then followed by maxed out plays, and I think that can cause injuries, but I don't think it's in the same universe. Football, big hits, but there is an out of bounds, and just the 17 games played. I think I'd play Australian rules football in a prison in Mexico for 17 games, right? I'd get it done. I'm going to get a huge payday. I would get that done. I'm not saying it's easy, but I don't know, man. Hockey, you've got your exhibition is, first of all, way too long. And even though you might say it's only exhibition, I don't know. I counted like 15 fights. There's all kinds of hits. Ask Mark Stone how he felt. You know, like it's still more physical than most other sports in exhibition. And that's 8 games. That's half of an NFL season before you've even dropped the puck for game 1. And then you've got, if you get through all that, now you're 90 games in, and the playoffs start. They start. So the schedule in hockey and the playoffs, okay, you want to go there? 4 rounds, 7 possible games, 28 games in the playoffs. Of multiply all of what I said, the hitting and the hooking and holding and fighting and, well, I guess not fighting, but the intensity, multiply that by 100 for the Stanley Cup playoffs. I think it's the biggest contrast in the regular season and playoffs of all the sports. Again, I'm talking about the major sports, and I'm assuming, but it's my opinion. I'm biased, of course. We have a stick on top of everything I just said, okay? We've got a stick in our hands. Like, when I tell you stories about, like, the hardest things I had to do in hockey, and people go, oh, man, it must have been fight Domi. Yeah, it was. Go in front of the net with Sheldon Surrey. Well, I've said that. I remember it because it was extremely difficult. Chris Pronger, this stuff isn't easy. It's a weapon. And, okay, they might get a cross-check. But a cross-check from Chris Pronger or Sheldon Surrey or anybody, okay, I'm just using them as an example of big, imposing players from my generation. But going in front of the net, just – you take a cross-check on the power play, hence people don't like going there, we talked about earlier. I mean, most people in a 9-to-5 job don't ever feel that. They have no idea. They'd be like, what the hell is this, right? Like, you go through most jobs, and you take for granted how hard hockey is. And like I said, the weapon, that's a big thing because it does get used as a weapon, and it gets used as a weapon a lot. And on top of all of it, if that's not enough, we're still really the only sport that allows fighting mid-play, and everybody knows it. And the refs let you stand back, and the players do. And I know old schoolers will say, well, there's no fighting anymore. But there are. There are hundreds. There are hundreds of fights. If you're Jonathan Drouin, you can probably be safe to say no one's going to come after you. But, again, most players out there, most players are possibly going to get into a fight every time they go onto the ice. And for me, for those reasons, I think hockey is the most physically and mentally demanding and draining sport.
Yeah, well, you know what? The only text we're getting, TR, is I agree with everything he says. The only one I'd put against is MMA. Yeah, well, MMA and boxing, because you're right. That, like, the whole sport is about fighting for sure. Yeah. But in a boxing, like, you would fight once. And the crazy thing about MMA and boxing is, I would argue that, like, you have one, well, obviously you'll fight more than once a year, but, you know, once you get to the top of the mountain, you're fighting, like, you know, once every 6 months or 8 months. But the training in that, it's the worst. Like, you see guys, you know, you got the headgear on, you're just taking, like, I don't know, did you ever train boxing? TR, I know a lot of guys who fought, they did some boxing training at any point. Did you ever do it?
I did do a little bit for cardio more than anything, not for moves or anything. It was for cardio, but I did, yeah.
Yeah, and how did you find, like, what was the best part of the boxing cardio that helped you?
You know, I found it hard. I remember distinctly my arms really hurting, like having to do it with and keep my arms up. And it was just a new exercise. I did it for at least one summer, I think 2. And it was way, way, way harder than I thought. Now, by the way, I'm not including sports that the whole point is to fight.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, yeah. And I maybe should have qualified that before I started.
Yeah, no, because that's right. That's really the only ones, and you're right. Like, that's the whole genesis of their sport. Like, there's nothing else in boxing. You're not suddenly twirling and twisting around. You're in boxing. Your whole sole goal is to knock the other person out, which is.
It is. I mean,
now, did you not go into one of those kind of like one of those NHL, like they had the hockey fighting things? Did you do that?
Listen to me here. Listen to me. A year ago, almost to the day, a group called me. Okay, I don't want to give too much away because I still think they're shopping for an owner. It's there. Like, and I believe you'll see it. So I don't want to give away what happened. But I got a call, and I thought it was because I knew how to stunt. Like, it was for camera. They said they're doing this, like, UFC kind of hockey thing.
Okay.
It was an iteration of the ones you've seen. I don't know the names of all of them. This one was exactly an iteration of the one that happened in Edmonton, I think, at one of the casinos.
Yeah.
I paid loose attention to it. But anyway, a guy called, and I knew they were doing it. The way he explained it, I thought it was they were doing a TV commercial. And where I'd done so many stunts and I like fighting stunts, I thought they were using me because I knew my way around that to kind of stunt coordinate it.
Okay.
And anyway, it got like 2 days before. I was actually in Edmonton visiting my buddy Taran Samwith before I flew to this particular destination in the United States. And they said, no, like, you're fighting. Do you have a doctor? I'm like, do I have a doctor? I went down. I'm serious. I was so unprepared. They only asked me like with a week before it. I guess someone had dropped out. So And the only thing I'd done, I play a lot of ball hockey, as you know, so I knew I'd have decent cardio, but I hadn't lifted a weight in years. And I knew that this particular person waiting for me had. And I got down there, man. I was like a fish out of water. I went in. They're like, do you want to tape up your hands? I'm like, they put the Ultimate Fighter gloves on. And I was like, no. The other guy was doing it. I'm like, why would I tape up my hands? I never did it. But worst mistake I could have made, I realized as he was hitting me that, it's like concrete. But like I couldn't believe it. Every fight was like Domi or Frank Bialowas, Ryan Vandenbush. I was like, geez, every time he's hitting me anyway. So I was in a whirlwind. Went 4 rounds of a full minute each round. And if the helmet came off or if the fight got stopped for any reason, the clock would stop. So it was pretty much all out for 4 rounds. It was wild. It was absolutely wild. It was definitely, without a doubt, the most physically draining thing I've ever done in my life. There's nothing close at the end of it. I was seeing spots. I couldn't stand. I needed about 4 hours just to be able to breathe and have a sandwich.
And so this may be coming out on TV?
I believe it will, yeah. I believe it will. That was the whole point. I mean, they paid me decent. I mean, I guess, considering I take punches in the face, like a lot of them. But that was it. I thought it was a commercial. I said, oh, okay, pretty good. Like X amount of dollars, I'll go down.
Might want to read the fine print next time.
Yeah, I know. Once I was there, and the group, I got to be honest, the group of people was intriguing. One of them is like a real famous actor, huge. And I guess he had the idea. He knows a hockey player, and the hockey player I'd been in a fight with. And I guess said, and since I've gone to these alumni things going, how come you guys didn't get it? I've noticed that over the years, now I'm starting to get the call to the alumni stuff because of Shorzy and, my chicklets here and there. I got my podcast, my books. But, no one was calling me when I was irrelevant 8 games played. But now all of a sudden I'm getting these calls. And I don't know. Like, I afraid he was there a bunch more. I go, you guys don't know anything about what I'm saying? Like, the PA phoned me. Anyway, I guess this group called them, and whoever it was said, there's a guy out there that I know might do it. Again, when they phoned, I didn't realize they were talking about real-life fighting. And it had been a while. Anyway, it happened, and you're probably going to see it. I mean, like I said, this was first class. They had I didn't avail. You know what? There was 2 kids down there that came up and asked me for so the other group there, like they had a doctor there and everything, and there was corner men and women and, ring girls and everything coming out. And I had no trainer. I had no preparation whatsoever. I was just sitting there with my stuff on. They announced me coming out. I forget. I think it was Terry. Oh, God. Oh, not Machine Gun, but something. They just gave me the name. I came out, smoke's going off. They played Newfoundland, the Islander, Newfoundland song. And anyway, I went out, and there was 2 guys there that were big fans. And the guy goes, yeah, man, can you sign my Montreal jersey? I go, have you seen me on YouTube? And they go, yeah. So I go, you know my fights? Come on, stand in my corner. And after the first round, Jason, I couldn't believe. I was like, I was breathing going, oh, man, like I got 3 more rounds of this. I was like, I'm going to let down everybody on Shorzy. My daughter knows I'm doing this. This is going to come. I had to reach deep, and the guy looks at me and goes, you're just going to have to stand back and throw. That's what you're good at. I'm like, but I, and he goes, but nothing. I'm looking at your YouTube tapes, man. You're trying to dance around like Darren Langdon. You're not going to be able to do it. You can't come back. First of all, like he won the first round 80-20. Anyway, she went the distance, and I'll let you see what happens whenever this thing gets released. But yeah, it was,
geez, we're gonna have to try to go get on the black market a copy of this. So it'll be fun.
It'll be released somewhere sometime soon. I think
what we've learned in TR today is hockey's a really tough sport, but also read the fine print if you ever get involved in any sort of contract. Read the fine print to know where. Yeah, I think we're shooting a commercial. Hey, we're gonna have a real fight now.
Well, I just thought that's the most obvious. You're calling me to get in a fight on camera with my skates on. What is this? It's not 1997.
Oh, God. So good. Yeah. Let's get to Connor Halley and the Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. Right now, during the Road Ready sales event, you can save up to 25% on select tires and bonus of 50% off any tire until October 21st. Trust me, read the fine print. It's guaranteed. That's what you're getting. Book your appointment at fountaintire.com.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Week 6 6 in the NFL wraps up tonight as the LA Chargers hosting the Dallas Cowboys. Kickoff 6:15. You can join me at the Fort Saskatchewan Canadian Brewhouse for a chance to qualify for a trip for two to the Super Bowl in Las Vegas. The Edmonton Oilers off tonight, back in action tomorrow, taking on the Nashville Predators. 5 games on the ice tonight, though. The Blackhawks taking on the Maple Leafs. That one gets going at about 5 o'clock. You've also got the Panthers in Jersey. Rangers host the Coyotes. Caps take on the Flames, and the Red Wings heading to Columbus to take on the Blue Jackets. Major League Baseball playoffs. Top of the 5th, the Rangers lead the Astros 5-2. Texas up in that series 1-0. And we have game 1 of the NLCS as the Phillies host the Diamondbacks. First pitch set for 6:07. 1 game in the AJ this evening as Calgary hosting Whitecourt. That one starts just after 7 o'clock. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Andi Petrillo of CBC Sports and hear another edition of 5 Questions. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Building or renovating, you want to work with someone who sees and understands your vision. BIE Engineering is a family-owned, experienced structural engineering consulting firm serving commercial and residential clients in Edmonton and surrounding area. Homeowner or large company, they'll work with you to help see your ideas through. BIE Engineering can help prevent problems, deliver solutions, and minimize your risk. BIE Engineering. Request a quote for your project today. Visit bieeng.com.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the #1 place for people who want heating and cooling, because you'll save a bundle and get both with a heat pump. Then you can use hot, cold, Common thermostat, do what you're told. Turn up the heat, turn up the cold, to the vents start pushing out tornadoes. Time for a heat pump, bring it to me. Gonna get a new from Legacy. Your heat pump from Legacy will heat and cool while saving you a bundle in energy costs. Plus, you'll get a rebate up to $5,000 and no payments, no interest for 1 year. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
A solid financial plan is made up of more than just investments. Investments are an important part, but you need a more comprehensive approach. Vincent Pearson at Weird Pearson Akel & Associates Private Wealth Management understands that. He can help build a plan that includes retirement, estate planning, personal insurance, tax strategies, and yes, investments. Talk to him today and see the difference a real financial plan makes. Weird Pearson Akel & Associates. Call 780-988-4119 or visit weirdadvisoryteam.com.
How do we do it? Well, at Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we invest. Our money and time goes right back into technology and training, and it's all designed to get you back into shape. We invest in people, the people who really care, and they understand how your body works. Then they combine their experience, training, and skills to work with you to help you solve your issues, be it pain in the back, neck, arm, shoulder, heel, literally head to toe. Leading Edge Physiotherapy, always taking new patients because we keep fixing the old ones. Life shouldn't hurt. Find us at leadingedgephysio.com.
What you eating there?
Oh, just a Leon's $10,000 shopping spree in a Chevy Colorado.
How do you plan to get all that from a Big Mac?
Monopoly Double Play.
Monopoly Double Play?
First, I peel on pack, then I peel an app. 2 ways to play and win.
So basically, you're potentially holding the most lucrative Big Mac ever?
No, I'm potentially eating the most lucrative Big Mac ever.
Now you can double play at McDonald's for more ways to win millions of prizes. While supplies last, chances of winning change as prices are claimed. Chances of winning McD's app prizes based on time of code entry. See rules at participating McDonald's in Canada or at mcdpromotion.ca.
You can't predict exactly how your harvest will go. So here's the next best thing. InVigorResults.ca. Featuring localized and replicated trial results, you can see how InVigor canola hybrids could perform in your fields. But more importantly, the results demonstrate our consistent track record and undisputed leadership, giving you the confidence to flex your harvest muscle season after season. Go to InVigorResults.ca to see results in your area today.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio, professional athletes use aquatic therapy, radial shockwave, zero-gravity treadmills, and pneumatic recovery devices for rehab. Leading Edge Physiotherapy offers those to you because sports shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
We get these pills to swallow. How they stick in your throat.
Continuing on, Gregor, Terry Ryan, Connor Halley with you. Hey, boys, will TR ever be in studio? Would love to drop by and have him sign my Habs jersey from Sean. Yes, Sean, we are planning a road trip to have TR coming out here. We're just looking at schedules. Obviously, it'll have to be after. There's some talk about, of course, the season 3 shooting for Shoresy, so that'll obviously impact things a little bit. But we'll be here. Maybe we'll just send him a contract, and he'll think he's coming out here for some sort of photo shoot, and then we'll have him doing like some sort of he'll be like Kramer. He'll have to do like a show up. It'll be a little bit easier. Won't make you fight or anything, but maybe you could be like an underwear model without knowing it. That'd be good. ATR.
Oh God, I love how your head went there. I love Seinfeld, as I've mentioned, and I know every single episode. So as soon as you say it, it makes me laugh.
Oh God! Remember when he walks in the room? He's trying to be all cool, and he leans on the wall.
Oh yeah, just slides
my
down.
God.
Just so
He
good
was
at physical
such a
comedy.
good physical actor, right? Like physical comedy. God, he's funny.
It's and I'm watching them all now with my daughter, like straight through, and because I at some point I was like, I think she'll find some of these shows funny. I think she's ready. So, but I don't know, 6 months ago, we're almost through, but yeah, she comments, and it was like when you read the script, and now that I know, actually in the 90s I didn't really know. You're reading a script, and now you really appreciate what Michael Richards did to that role, because like none of that is in the script.
No,
you know what I mean? Like and if you look at the very beginning, he's like shades of Kramer, but he's not really. And then all of and the live studio audience at times, I think, helped, because he would walk in and people would go crazy, and he kind of fed off that. And I've read a little bit about it. I'm really into it. But yeah, I mean, it's a level of physical humor in a sitcom that maybe Jack Tripper from Three's Company, maybe him. Remember, he used to fall over. I don't think he was close to Kramer, but I think maybe Kramer might have taken some cues. Remember, he used to fall over the couch, and he was the only other person I remember in a sitcom being so reliant on the physical part.
Yeah, no, that's very true. And of course, Suzanne Summers passed away at the age of 76. Speaking of Chris Snow and Three's Company. Yeah, it was the day before she turned 77. So rest in peace to her. She was very good as Chrissy Snow, man. Hilarious. So now let's it is the Jason Gregor Show, presented by playalberta.ca. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Thanks as always for tuning in live on the radio and watching on Oilers Nation YouTube as we get to our football report, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home of the no payments, no interest for 1 year on your furnace. Plan ahead, stay warm all winter at legacyheating.ca. And our regular Monday guest at 4 o'clock, Andi Petrillo from, of course, One Soccer and CBC Sports joins us. And Andy, not a great showing. Now, I know it's only a friendly, but and Japan did spank Germany 4-1 as well. But man, it wasn't a great look here. Moving Alphonso Davies to defense, we're like, hey, this is going to be great. It didn't really work out that way.
No, well, I wanted to start off by saying these pretzels are making me thirsty. If you're an earlier watcher of Seinfeld, you know exactly where that line is from. Yeah, it was a bitter pill to swallow, because I think a lot, we were all excited to see the Canadian men back on the pitch, but at the same time, I mean, Japan had won their last 4 international matches, all by 4 or more goals. We knew it was going to be a tough test. The Canadians were also without Stefan Eustáquio, who is huge in that midfield. And I don't care what anybody says. In soccer, your midfield, I mean, that's your glue. Yeah. That's basically where everything stems from, because a lot of times your midfielders defensively, they're involved in the creative play up front. Stefan Eustáquio is that guy. And he suffered like a last-minute injury on the Sunday night. Still flew out to Japan on the Monday because he got injured with his club team. Still flew out. But Canada Soccer did their own assessment on him and said, we can't, take this risk. And it really just fell apart. So that's now 5 straight games for Japan, where they score 4 or more goals. They score in the 2nd minute against Canada. Horrible start. Yep. Alphonso Davies, who, he's arguably, he is one of the best left backs in the world. But and it's not just him. It was almost everybody. Looked a little too casual out there. And at one point, for that 2nd goal, he's tracking back. But there was just something casual about the way he was tracking back. And you could say the ball took a funny bounce. But again, if he was a little bit more aggressive in his positioning, it wouldn't have bounced off his knee and then bounced off Milan Borjan's face and into the net. It doesn't get more embarrassing than that. Like, even Borjan looks up at him like, I don't even know what to say to you. It was like, all this so embarrassing. And I mean, it was 4-0 before Junior Hoylett gets like an 89th minute goal. So I mean, it's all around disappointing. It's unfortunate. And here's the other thing, guys. They've played 8 matches now since Qatar against teams that are ranked higher than them. Their record is 1 win, 1 draw, and 6 losses. 7 goals scored, 18 conceded. Like, if you're going to do better beyond CONCACAF, which is their region, you have to start beating these other teams. And that's where the concern is for me, is that 8 teams they've played since the World Cup that are ranked higher than them, and it's an abysmal record.
Yeah, not good. Now, Mario Belio is the interim coach. He wants to be the permanent head coach. Now, I know it's only one result, but what do you make of this? And is he kind of on the job training in your eyes, or auditioning? It would be a better word.
Oh yeah, I mean, he flat out said, he's like, I want this gig. I mean, he's been with the Canadian national team for a few years now as an assistant, and he has fully said, like, I want this job. It's tough for him because when John Herdman left to go to Toronto FC, he also took everybody with him. Like, he took all of his staff with him, with the exception of Mauro Biello. Like, I'm talking from assistants to goalkeeper coach to video coach to trainers. Like, Herdman took everyone. So Mauro at the same time is sitting here going, okay, like, I also myself have to start from scratch with my own coaching staff. And I mean, it's disappointing, again, that result. But I guess the good news is that it's a friendly. 2 massive matches are coming up mid-November in Nations League. So this matters because, of course, they want to be able to qualify for a Nations League final again. But this year, because they're also one of the 3 teams hosting the World Cup, they don't have to go through qualifying, which means every competition or tournament that they're in matters for preparation. So Nations League acts as a qualifier to the South American tournament called Copa America. So this is where you can go up against some heavy hitters, right? Like Argentina, Brazil, Uruguay. So these 2 games really matter for Canada's positioning in that Nations League group. So this is where Mauro's going to have to kind of pull up the socks a little bit as well with the players too, and try to get the best out of them, because he is only the interim until the end of the year, from what we're told, right? Because they're not going to hire a new coach until they get a new general secretary. And we've been told that's going to happen by the end of the year. So really, he just has like a 3-game audition. Talk about pressure. But, you know, these 2 ones in November are really going to matter.
Andi, I want to take the conversation to the CPL. So, Kunle Dadaluk. I hope I'm saying that name right. And I know he's in the news because he got Kunle. Is that how you say it? He's suspended for 2 games, which would be the rest of the season, essentially.
Yeah.
What happened there? And do you think that's a little extreme?
So I just want to preface this by saying it takes a lot to offend me. So maybe some other people found it a suspendable offense. I think what he did was an offense, but I think it was worthy of a fine. So it was the wrestling move, right? Where you kind of gesture towards the nether regions type of thing, right? So that's the wrestling. I don't even know what the name of it is. I'm sure there's some WWE fans out there who will, pipe in very quickly. But so it was at the end of the game.
Andy, it was D Generation X is the actual.
That's it. Okay. There you go. So there you go. You know it. And that's what he did to the fans of Halifax. So he plays for Pacific. It was a 1-0 victory. It was massive for them because they had just played at home on the West Coast, beat York United, and then did a cross-country journey to Halifax. So that game was on the Wednesday night, played again on the Saturday after cross-country journey. So they're amped up, they're jacked because all the odds are stacked against them because Halifax is waiting for them. They pull off this victory. Halifax fans are incredible, by the way. And they were on him. Like, they were on everybody all game long. So when the whistle goes and they win, like a little bit of his emotion come out. He does that gesture. Halifax players don't like it. There's a big brouhaha. I love any opportunity to use that word. And there's 2 red cards, and he gets one of them. So now there's 2 games left. If they win their next one, their semifinal game next week, they go to the final. He's out. And I don't know how I feel about that, guys, because if you do any kind of, we know, and we've seen this obviously in many sports, the NHL being one, you do a throat slash, like, it's a suspension. You do any kind of threatening thing like that, you do any kind of racial gesture, to me, that's a suspension. But other ones, I'm like, where do you kind of draw the line between suspension and fine? Again, it's an offense. It's kind of crude. So fine him. But I also think, like, these are the playoffs. And, like, now you've just lost. And by the way, he's a key player. Not that I'm saying like non-key players don't matter, but kind of key players matter, right? Like he's a starting 11. Like this guy matters. And now they've lost him for the remainder of the playoffs. And then to me, and I know this may sound like a cop-out to a lot of people, but it's like, once again, you're trying to grow the CPL. You're trying to make sure all the best players are always in there. Like, I'm not saying, again, don't fine him, but like for him to be gone for the rest of the playoffs, I'm just kind of like, what are you doing? I don't know. It's just, I personally don't care, but I don't know, Terry, if anyone's ever done that in the NHL. Like, I don't know. There's been stuff that's been said and done. We know this, right? But like sometimes, like, what's that threshold?
I agree with you. Sticking on CPL. Should Calgary be worried with their recent loss to Hamilton, given that Calgary finished the regular season in first place, didn't they?
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, and this is the thing. Like, Cavalry was the top dog. They had an incredible regular season. Not only did they win the regular season title, but they also just entered into the playoffs on a high. And not only do they struggle in the playoffs, but they, in particular, struggle against that Hamilton side Forge. So it was kind of like the only thing that could really beat Cavalry, and not that I want to take anything away from Forge, but is themselves, like in between the ears. And then what do you know? Forge ends up scoring first, and you could tell that Cavalry just couldn't get over it. So it ends up being a 2-1 loss. But because they were the top team that game, they now have to go and play Pacific. And like I just said, Pacific's feeling good. They beat York, they beat Halifax. So they're feeling pretty good about themselves going into this Cavalry game. Now, they will be without, Dada Luke, and that's a pretty big loss for Pacific. But if I'm Cavalry, I just, again, and this is where, a couple weeks ago when we chatted about winning the regular season and then having to go and win the title, I just think if they don't go and win the title, Cavalry, it almost feels like the regular season title was, right? Like it's a bitter way to end the year. It's a sour taste in your mouth. So I do think that they have to be really careful here because they're a little down and out. So they need to get out from between their ears, and they need to figure out how to beat Pacific, which then would mean a rematch against Forge.
Andi Petrillo joins us from One Soccer and CBC. I did like your viewpoint. To me, like Generation X, like anybody who's a wrestling fan knows it's, that's part of sport. People have seen it 1,000 times. If you want to give them a fine, I can live with that. But to me, that's way over the top for a suspension at that time of the year. I just think to me, it's a little bit of the overly sensitive police, and I think that happens too often sometimes, and I definitely am not for it. Now, I do kind of want to go full circle with you, and I know we touched on this a while ago about Christine Sinclair, because here we are, you're looking ahead to the Olympics and, the kind of the matchups, and we talked about those upcoming games that are so crucial for the men. What about the women? They got anything up? Like, what should we be watching for there?
Yeah, they've got the two friendlies coming up, October 28th and October 31st. So get your kiddies out and do your trick-or-treating and then go home and watch a nice game because they'll be playing in Montreal on the 28th, and then they'll be playing in Halifax on the 31st. And I think there's another FIFA window, and I'm sure they'll announce that as well. Like they'll be playing in early December. But this is great. I mean, the Canadian women, if you recall back in August, they did put out a letter and they said that Canada Soccer was going to be honoring all the windows, the FIFA windows that were granted to the women, and they were going to fill them with games. And it appears that that's happening. Right. It's kind of gone mum a little bit, Jason. So if I were to give like my expert opinion, and what I mean by mum was, last time we spoke when the women qualified for the Olympics and they beat Jamaica, Christine Sinclair was, visibly sad after that game. And based on what Bev Priestman, the coach, said after the match as well, it didn't sound like it was a guarantee Christine Sinclair was going to stick around for the Paris 2024 Olympics. So I'm guessing we're going to hear something before those Montreal Halifax games, and it could be that she will be, but it could be that she won't be at the Olympics. But I have a feeling we're going to have our answer by the 28th for sure.
And even if she is there, you don't expect her to be a starter, do you?
No, I wouldn't expect her to be a starter. I mean, this is somebody who can still obviously contribute. I mean, in fact, she just played the National Women's Soccer League. I'm so sorry, Terry. I'm so distracted by your cat right now, who is so awesome. Like, what is happening over there? I was like, is it a she or he? Because they're very loving.
She.
Oh,
Princess.
she is adorable. Yes. Now I lost my. Oh, yeah. So in the NWSL, they just had their decision day. She played the full 90. So in the pro game, this is somebody who still like contributes a lot. But I would say at the international level, Jason, she's definitely an impact, because we kind of call them impact players now, bench players, whatever. But yeah, I wouldn't say if she were to be in Paris, no, I wouldn't think she'd be a starter.
Awesome. Andi, great stuff as always. Great to talk to you. Have a good week. We'll chat with you next Monday.
See you, Andi.
All right. Thanks for having me.
That is Andi Petrillo from CBC and, of course, One Soccer. I really like her take on it. I thought they were way over the board. Like, come on here. It's and I don't know, like maybe I'm desensitized because I've seen it in wrestling all the time, but that is not something you should be suspended for in pro sports. I'm sorry. Like, you want to fine him and say he shouldn't do it 100%. But to me, that's not a suspendable offense.
And the stakes involved, it's unfortunate for a league that's trying to make some ground and compete with other leagues and other sports. It's hard to grab the attention of the average sports fan who's already, set in the sports they watch.
Totally.
And when they watch them and the leagues they watch. And it's a great league, and they need all the exposure they can get. And because of something so silly and trivial, I don't know. And both games too. The end. Nothing. Don't talk. No. You're gone. You can't possibly come back. I mean, I'm not saying ever that certain players need to be giving a better favorable treatment, I guess, in this situation. I really am normally not for that. I'm certainly not saying that if anybody else did it, they should have been suspended for 2 games.
Yeah.
I just think it's way too much, and it's magnified when it's someone that needs to play the game to promote it from a business perspective and a fan excitement perspective.
Yeah, to me, somebody they reached way too far in the discipline. 2 games, give me a break. Gregor and Terry Ryan with you on Sports 1440 live on Oilers Nation. YouTube will return. We have Mark Spector coming up. Also, we'll hear from Kevin Woodley and more on the Jason Gregor Show, presented by our title sponsor, PlayAlberta.ca.
I got into reffing for the excitement.
He's going for the chair.
Turns out wrestling is completely scripted. But you know what's exciting and unscripted? PlayAlberta.ca. With an all-new sportsbook, odds boosts, and betting on any game.
PlayAlberta.ca. Go all in on excitement. Sign up today with promo code SPORTS50 and get a $50 free bet. Official gaming partner of the Edmonton Oilers. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
Action Electrical is expanding throughout Alberta. With the recent acquisition of Big Hill Electrical Services in Cochrane, Action Electrical is the most diversified electrical contractor in Alberta. What does this mean for Action Electrical and Big Hill Electrical Services? It means that they are able to support their clientele all over Alberta with the same high level of professionalism and integrity. From conception to completion and beyond, throughout Alberta, contact
the professionals
at actionelectrical.net today. That's actionelectrical.net.
Ain't it beautiful? The inventory is unprecedented. Volvo Cars Edmonton is proud to boast an amazing selection of in-stock Volvo XC40s, 60s, and 90s. Visit Volvo Cars Edmonton today and experience the exemplary service you've come to expect and the affordable luxury only found with Volvo Cars Edmonton, Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winners. Experience the difference.
Volvo of Edmonton.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is sounding the call. Don't struggle through winter with a furnace you can't trust. For maintenance before winter strikes,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
For furnace tune-ups and repairs to give peace of mind.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Or to scrap your old furnace for a brand new high-efficiency one.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
And with no payments, no interest for 1 year on your new furnace, it's gotta be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
At The Brick, we're not just proud of this city and its rich sports history. We're proud partners of it. The Brick started right here in Edmonton over 50 years ago. And when we're not cheering on the Oilers and Oil Kings live at the game, or the Edmonton Elks under the bright stadium lights, we're in our stores, providing everything you need to cheer them on in your home. The Brick, supporting Edmonton sports teams and fans since 1971, saving you more.
I've won my fantasy league 7 years in a row. Something we get to hear about every weekend. And he stops at nothing to win. I have my techniques. Oh, yeah. Like the time you got us all plastered the night before draft. Or the time you sent yo mama jokes to me until I agreed to your trade. But every year, I take my winnings and buy everyone Wilhauk beef jerky.
Wilhauk beef jerky. Because you don't win friends with salad.
It's the only reason why I'm still talking to you. Yo mama still talks to me, too.
In Leduc, Spruce Grove, and West Edmonton Mall.
How exciting is it to have Sports Talk Radio back in Edmonton?
Tie game, bottom of the ninth with a full count. The kick, the pitch. It's high. It's far. It is gone. Walk-off home run.
Yeah, it's pretty much like that. Edmonton Kubota is excited to welcome back Sports Talk Radio, Sports 1440. We'll be dialed in for every minute. Get it done, and then some at Edmonton Kubota. All compact VX tractors on sale with 0% financing for 84 months. Stop by on 128th Ave or visit EdmontonKubota.com.
Sorry, gang. Party's over. I won!
At PlayOjo.net online casino, the party never stops. Feel the fun from the get-go with stacks of exciting slots and table games added every single week. Get that Ojo feeling at PlayOjo.net today.
Open to all players 18 years and older. This is not a gambling site. Please play responsibly. Feel the fun. Play Ojo.
At Toyota, we believe your vehicle is more than just your ride. It's your trusty sidekick. So make sure it's ready to go, because there's a 100% chance of winter this winter. And you can take those odds to the bank, not the snowbank. Trust the experts at Toyota for premium winter tires, batteries, brakes, and more. Beat the winter rush and book an appointment today. Visit shoptoyota.ca or contact your local Toyota dealer.
I know you want to leave me, but I refuse to let you.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Try their new butter chicken pizza made with velvety, tangy, sweet sauce topped with juicy grilled chicken, green peppers, and onions. Large butter chicken pizza for $19.99 for a limited time only at papajohns.ca.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Now I've heard a crying man is half a man with no.
Oh, this is a great tune as well. Welcome back, Jason Gregor, Terry Ryan, Connor Halley with you. Sports 1440 coming to you live from the eWell studio. Stop in on Thursday as they are having their grand opening for all their clients, customers, and also any Sports 1440 listener wants to stop in. They got free lunch outside. They're giving away all sorts of great prizes. Stop in on 186th Street to 116th Avenue this Thursday, 11 a.m. until 1 p.m. So check it out, ewel.ca for all your electrical needs. Now, we have lots and lots of texts coming in. 401-1440. Of course, 833-401-1440. Hey, guys, I'm wondering why people would say the Oilers would be in a better spot come the trade deadline with no one on LTR. Can you explain what benefits the Oilers have this year, considering we only have a few $100,000 in cap space? That one comes from BD. Well, here's how it works. So they can, if they don't go into LTIR, let's just say it starts, they had, I think, $340K or whatever it was when the season began. You accrue cap space every day you're not in LTR. So it builds up. And by the time you would get to the trade deadline, essentially they could add, without having to retain salary or anything, you could add a player had about a cap hit of 1.5 mil. That's how the accrued cap space. You build up more space as the season goes along when you're not in LTIR. Now, if the Oilers have an injury that requires someone to be out for more than a month, or sorry, I should say more than 24 days, then they go in LTR. And so for those 24 days, they wouldn't be able to accrue any cap space. But then the minute they're out of LTR, then they start accruing it again. And so that's how it works. So let's say, somebody's going to be in LTR for a little bit. Let's just say by the end, they got $1 million in cap space. Now, obviously, you can make some trades. You got to move pieces out. We saw that with Tyler, with Tyson Barrie, right? We've seen that in other years when you add a Legason in and different things like that. But accruing cap space will allow them to actually have more cap space than they have had right now, right? So it's not going to be 300,000. You accrue it, and then the cap hit of the players around 1.5. I could do it might even be 1.7. I'd have to double check the exact math on it, but that's kind of how it works. So hopefully that explains it for you. So they do have a little bit more cap flexibility. It's not a massive amount, but considering very few teams do, it's not bad. Hey guys, I'm curious what TR's thoughts are on Darnell Nurse's play. TR?
Yeah, I just think mistakes. I think he's really talented. Remember what I was thinking about something though. After we just spoke about the tough part of the game and me as a forward going in front of the net, I think maybe he could be a little bit tougher in front of there. I know he is sometimes. I don't mean like cross-checking somebody and taking a penalty. Sometimes there's good penalties and sometimes there's bad penalties.
Yes.
And even if it's a good penalty, I mean like some of those goals, and that goes for all of them, but you're asking me about Nurse specifically. He's a big, imposing guy. He's this generation's, when I just spoke about Pronger and Surrey or whatever, I mean, he's got it in him to be that guy now, so make people pay. I think I would just, bear down a bit and not just with the puck in front of the net.
It's fair you say that, because I think at times when I watch him in front of the net, Terry, I'd like to see better positioning to use the 6'4", 225-pound frame to his advantage. Is that fair?
I think that's really well said. And some of those penalty kill goals, you couldn't really put your finger on it, but you were asking me about earlier that we didn't really get back to. Exactly. It's and I know that's a penalty kill, but still, he seems to be in the wrong position at times, and that. I still think he's a premier defenseman, though. I really do. But those things I would definitely focus on and tighten up a little bit.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Good answer. I think it's one, it's little pieces. It's not like massive, but game of inches. And if all of a sudden, like the read on the 2-on-0 breakaway, there's no reason to make it. I'm sorry. There's zero reason. Now, I get that you don't want the guy to miss the net from there, but you don't need 5 people in the zone that low anyway. But I also think that at that point, there's a sign of a team frustrated with no goals 5-on-5. And so now guys start pressing and they're like, oh, I got to do more. And the minute you try to do more, usually that's when you get bit even harder.
It's over. Yeah, like I said, squeezing the stick. We've all been there, right? And I don't necessarily think he was trying to be a hero or selfish. I don't. It would appear, he's being so selfish. No, I think they're just pressing. They're like, we're the Oilers. We got to score one of these times. And you overthink it, right? I mean, with the sample size with Nurse is huge. And I know that sometimes people overreact, but he is a premier defenseman, and that doesn't normally happen.
Yeah. So it's when he makes the error, he has a propensity to make the big one. And he'll make, because the rest of the game, Darnell Nurse was excellent.
Yeah.
But then there's one mistake, and it's kind of like the old adage I tell my son, hey, you're going to make mistakes. Try to keep them at 3s and 4s out of 10s, not 10s. And that was a 10 mistake, right? Because if he did now, like I said, Terry, even if he's in the right position, then it's still a 2-on-1, right? And so they might have scored on a 2-on-1. We'll never know. But at least it's not a 2-on-0. And the odds of scoring on a 2-on-0 are infinitely higher than they are scoring on a 2-on-1. And so there was no reason to pinch at that point. There was not, and it's not even a pinch. Pinch is the wrong word. There was no point in jumping up into the offensive though that low at that time of the game when you already had one defenseman in there. You didn't need both of you. It was unnecessary. There was no, the risk for reward ratio was just way too high to even contemplate doing it. So, good question.
Yeah, and just to add to that, look, you had the experiment with Tyson Barrie. That's high risk, high reward. There's going to be some giveaways. You don't need that from a guy that's supposed to be solid back there. That's all.
Yeah. Hey guys, I'm a Maritime fan, and I think it's wonderful. I think Halifax would be a great place for an NHL expansion team. Well, I don't think they have an arena. Well, their arena's pretty big, but I don't think it's NHL big. And I'm not sure there's enough population, Ter. Now, you would know better, right? Traveling all around, like it would have to be like a Maritimes team, right? It wouldn't just be Halifax, right? It'd have to be all the Maritime. And I know they're highly passionate. Do you think there's enough fans to support the price tag of NHL hockey for 41 days a year?
I hope so. It's possible, but I don't know. I just think it's the NHL's after money. There's bigger markets out there, and there's more corporate money other places. And look, I'd love it. Obviously, a team in Atlantic Canada, I think it'd be a hit. I think it'd go over. Halifax, like you said, you got to come with a new rink, right? Halifax reminds me of Kamloops. It's a really top-notch junior city that really supports it. They sell out. They got a nice rink for junior. I don't know. I mean, I think people would support it. Again, you're going to the population. You'd have to. Yeah, I didn't look. No, I don't. It'd be awesome. I don't think it's going to happen. No, I think there's too many other markets with too many, with bigger populations and with a lot more corporate money. So look, I'd love to see it, but I think we're fine. We're fine in the Atlantic provinces with major junior, and that seems to be what's people are interested in and really support, and I don't see anything wrong with that.
Yeah, no, it's totally fair. I think that's a valid, honest answer. It would be great, but probably not realistic at this point. So, hey, boys, isn't the glaring issue on the Oilers' goaltending? I'm wondering how hard the Oilers are trying to add Hellebuck. Do you think the Oilers need to look at option for another starting goalie from Rice? Well, again, it's 2 games, and goaltending definitely is a factor. There's no question about it when you have a .750 save percentage through 2 games, and Stuart Skinner's got the .750 through a game and a half of that. But 2 games, and here's the truth. How many available well, there's no available goalies now that are going to be any better. So let's just make that clear, right? Maybe come the deadline, you could look at one. And it's funny, the one team who maybe would consider it, when I look at because if you're going to trade for a goalie, then you got to go out there and you got to look at one that you think is going to be a difference maker for your team for a few years, and you'd have to pay a heavy price to get it. But the guy in Nashville, UC Saros, right? So he's 28 years of age. He makes $5 million this year, and he makes $5 million next year, and then he's a UFA. The Nashville Predators are a young team. They're kind of rebuilding. Now, maybe Saros wants to stay there, but maybe he might look and say, man, you know what? I'd like to go somewhere where we have a little bit more offense. I think I can take care of my own zone. If there's one guy I'd go, and hey, you're going to have to back up the Brinks truck probably to get him, but he's only got 1 year remaining. He's got a bargain deal. So that's the guy to go after. To me, would be UC Saros. If that trade happens, it's not happening until January or February, maybe right up until the trade deadline. But that's the guy. I know some people have said Allmark in Boston, and maybe, but I look at Boston. They got 2 goalies. Do they want to trade one or the other? I don't know. Maybe. Allmark, he's a UFA. He's the exact same boat as Saros. So I could say that, except he's 2 years older, right? And I think UC Saros has had a longer track record of success. So if it was me and I'm going for it, well, then I'm going to try to get the best one. And I think UC Saros, they traded away Ekholm. To me, that's the sign that Nashville's looking to retool. Maybe not go full rebuild because they got a first. They got basically two firsts and Tyson Barrie, who they think they can trade again at the deadline. I think it'd be UC Saros, TR. No question in my mind.
I hate to agree with you here, but I've thought about this. Someone asked me that on my own podcast, and I think as well, like right now. But the other thing is that a lot more teams are predicting that they're going to be better than, like, everybody can't make the playoffs, and like 21, 22 teams think they are going to, if not more. So I think it'll present itself. Like you said, either way, it's a long way away. To me, it's at least after Christmas. But I'll tell you, the leash is starting to get a little, like I was always confident with Campbell and Skinner. The leash is starting to get, I won't say alarming, but it's getting shorter with me for sure as a fan, as my wants and needs as a fan of the Oilers. I don't know. Like I've never really been so unsure, but I still think, and to me, I don't know why, I think Skinner's going to come out on top there. Man, I love Jack Campbell. I really do. His attitude, he's humble. He seems to be a great teammate, but there's a lot of holes when you look at him, and the consistently inconsistent really kind of gets me. And Stuart Skinner, even though he's from Edmonton, there's a lot of reasons to go with him. For me, he's given more reasons to go with him than not. It's just I'm not quite sold on him yet. I'm just not quite sold. But no matter what, it'll happen in 4 or 5 months from now.
Yes, I think both. There's an addition by both to see what happens with the goaltending. There's no trade coming tomorrow. There's no trade coming next week. So they got to figure it out. They got to play better. Team defense has got to be better as well. And not so much overall team defense, just a glaring error, which is like a broken record from last October, November. And then they figured it out. And then, of course, it reared its ugly head again in the playoffs. That is the number one thing I said at the start of the year. The number one thing the Oilers have to improve on is eliminating the glaring mistake. Once that happens, and once they're committed to it, they're going to be a legit contender, because a lot of times they still beat themselves with, errors. That Nurse one's a prime example. The Oilers had all control of that game, and then boom, you make a 5-man aggressive zone entry. Why? There was no reason for him to do that. Again, it might have been a 2-on-1. They still might have scored, but you're still giving yourself a better chance to not have the opposition score. And that's something that they got to get wired into their brain. And I think that's a good teaching moment. It's a good teaching moment to show that up and say, guys, just explain to me why you're thinking this is the right time to do this. It's not the right time. Be patient. We're killing them in puck possession. We haven't given up anything. So just be patient. And that's what they have to learn. Quick break. We'll come back. We have 5 questions and more. Jason Gregor, Terry Ryan, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440 and live on Oilers Nation YouTube.
Edmonton's premium live music and party venue is
On the Rocks.
Check out Bingo Tunes on Monday. Perform on the best stage in town with karaoke on Wednesdays. Learn how to salsa with Salsa Rocks on Thursdays. And every weekend, OTR goes live.
With your favorite bands on the OTR stage and DJ Kenny K.
For everything that's going on at On the Rocks, give us a follow.
Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
At On the Rocks, EDM.
Eat well, party hard.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks. Open every day till 2 a.m.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
What's cracking at Cattail Crossing Golf and Winter Club? Kick off your week with unbeatable savings. Enjoy half-price golf from Monday to Thursday. Elevate your game without emptying your wallet. Book your tee time today. CattailCrossing.ca.
Corporate Business Solutions will keep your multifunction office equipment happy. But don't take our word for it. Toner cartridges from far and wide have been raving.
Well, I like it when they give me a shake, shake, shake.
500 out of every 500 sheets of paper say they love their experience in a new Konica Minolta office solution.
Get tickled as I filter the machine.
With regular preventative maintenance, Corporate Business Solutions will keep your office equipment up and running by fixing your device before it breaks down. Call 780-490-5600 or visit cbsca.com.
At The Brick, we're not just proud of this city and its rich sports history. We're proud partners of it. The Brick started right here in Edmonton over 50 years ago. And when we're not cheering on the Oilers and Oil Kings live at the game, or the Edmonton Elks under the bright stadium lights, we're in our stores, providing everything you need to cheer them on in your home. The Brick, supporting Edmonton sports teams and fans since 1971, saving you more.
What you eating there?
Oh, just a Leon's $10,000 shopping spree in a Chevy Colorado.
How do you plan to get all that from a Big Mac?
Monopoly Double Play.
Monopoly Double Play?
First, I peel unpack, then I peel an app. 2 ways to play and win.
So basically, you're potentially holding the most lucrative Big Mac ever?
No, I'm potentially eating the most lucrative Big Mac ever.
Now you can double play at McDonald's for more ways to win millions of prizes. While supplies last, chances of winning change as prizes are claimed. Chances of winning McD's app prizes based on time of code entry. See rules at participating McDonald's in Canada or at mcdpromotion.ca.
Your old furnace can die in the blink of an eye, so why take that chance this winter? Eric Mikowski here, head of the family at Furnace Family. The time for a new furnace is now. Not only will you have peace of mind on those cold winter nights, you will save money on those super expensive gas bills. Unsure? Furnace Family can come check your furnace, and if you buy a new one from us, the check is free. Daikin has an industry-leading lifetime warranty on their heat exchangers. It could be the last furnace you ever buy. Visit furnacefamily.com. Jingle time.
Done right, day or night, furnacefamily.com.
Universal Rewind is the go-to electric motor sales and service company for Western Canada's industrial sector. From aggregate to manufacturing and food processing to oil and gas and agriculture, they keep your operation running like a well-oiled machine, offering a lineup of trusted brands of new motors and expert repair services to maintain your operation at peak efficiency. Family-owned and operated since 1975. Check out their new logo and website at universalrewind.com. Choose experience, expertise, and quality. Choose Universal Rewind.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. They continue developing tools and are excited to announce our newest design, the battery-powered Nut Runners. 4 models from 500 to 3,000 foot-pounds with more on the way. Learn more at cantork.com.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Oh, House of Pain, baby. Jump around. Let's go. Kill it.
One of the best
You know what?
warm-up tunes ever, man. Still stands.
Oh, it's still like, to me, if I'm a player, I'm having a goal song right away. Boom. That gets the house going. You have your individual goal songs, which, by the way, TR, are getting more popular around the league. More and more teams are doing it. I think it's only a matter of time before most of the teams get involved. But Winnipeg, Buffalo, there's quite a few other teams that are doing it. I think it's fantastic. And that's definitely one that would be an option. If I was a player today, you got to do what's good for you for sure, but you want something that's gonna get the people singing, get the people going. They're obviously excited. The team just scored, so it's gonna be good. The only time that would suck is if it's like this 6-1 goal and a 6-1 loss. Like that would kind of be terrible. But oh well, still be all right. Let's get to 5 questions now, brought to you by The Brick. Where right now at The Brick, they're committed to saving you more. The Brick's lowest price guarantee. You can shop with confidence that you're getting the lowest prices. If you find the same price somewhere else, The Brick will match that price. Find it out at The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, guys. Question number 1 for you today. Right now, the 0-2 Oilers. What is the biggest problem from what you've seen, and how is it corrected?
You gonna go, Jay? You want me to go first?
Go ahead, TR.
Well, I mean, those defensive mistakes, we've kind of beaten this horse already, but I'm just going to say squeezing their sticks. I think they're way better than they've let on, and they're getting better. Like I said, it's almost, to me, one big 6-period game, and they're turning the corner.
For me, the biggest problem is they need to commit to eliminating the big error. Because that's what kills them. Like, look at the shots on goal. Look at the territorial advantage. Look at every statistic in that game. They're murdering Vancouver. But one bad mistake, one bad decision, boom, it ends up. And I've said this for a while. How many easy goals do the Oilers get? How many easy goals do they give up? I think we both know the answer. The last one is much higher. Change that. It'll be much easier to win.
Question number 2. If the practice lines holds up, are you a fan of McDavid and Draisaitl being reunited?
I have no issue with it for a few reasons. Number one, McDavid doesn't have a .5-on-5 in 2 games. And I know it's the greatest player on the planet, but you don't want that to extend into 3 games. You just don't. And so when you play him with Draisaitl, and here's the thing, when they play together, they have the puck more. Both of them. That's what McDavid thinks. So get the puck on the best players in the leagues, stick more. That's a benefit. You're playing against Nashville, who, Draisaitl's walking in. He looks at that net and he's like, oh my goodness, I see openings all over the place. The guy's been scoring for fun against them. So as strange as it sounds, it's early in the year. You want to get some mojo going for your best players, because that just becomes infectious for everybody else. All of a sudden the Oilers get a lead or two, and now the other team's playing from behind. They open it up, and now your third line gets an odd man rush. So I have no problem with it at all. I think the Oilers have enough depth that they can score. Because if you can't score because McDavid and Draisaitl are together, you got bigger problems.
Yeah, I'm almost never upset with that call. I think, you got 2 of these players that are so good. You're putting them together. If you had no depth whatsoever. I like what you said earlier, though, Jason. I didn't think about it. That right-hand shot on that 4th line center, that obviously is something that probably will happen. I hadn't thought about all those left shots. But in any case, I just think they have enough depth anyway. We're talking, we're splitting hairs when you get down to the last guys. I think McDavid, Draisaitl together can't be a bad thing for whatever situation it is.
Question number 3. In honor of Austin Matthews and his hot start, I want to ask you guys both this question. Who are your top 3 pure goal scorers in the NHL, 1 through 3?
Man, so pure goal scorers. I mean, I can't look past McDavid having 60-odd last year. I just can't. Now, if you're talking pure, like back in the day when people would say, well, Brett Hull's more pure than Wayne Gretzky, and Gretzky would beat him by 20, even though Hull would get 70-something. Pure, okay, if we're taking that graceful finesse McDavid speed out of it, I'd go Pasternak, Ovechkin, and Matthews. But I'm serious. I'm putting McDavid in there second, I guess. I think Matthews has been the best scorer over the last few years. And I don't think Draisaitl is far off. But you're asking me for 3. Matthews, McDavid, Ovechkin. There you go.
It's hard not to have the grade 8 in, but because the grade 8 is going to be the greatest of all time. But over the last 4 years, he actually has the 6th most goals in the league. Austin Matthews, to me, if we're just talking score, he's the best scorer. He has the most goals in that time period, and he's also played 20 fewer games than McDavid has. So, you know what? He scores more. Doesn't mean he's a better player. The question was who's a better goal scorer. But then I would have Draisaitl followed by McDavid. Leon Draisaitl can one-time the puck. You know, he scored the garbage goal the other day. He'll get around the net. He scores from a lot of different ways. He's got 3 50-goal seasons already. I think McDavid has learned how to become a better goal scorer. You ask me at this time next year, he might be number 2. But right now I'll have Matthews, Draisaitl, McDavid.
Question number 4. Right now up at playalberta.ca, the Cowboys 2.5-point favorites over the Chargers for Monday Night Football. And the over-under set at 50.5. Where's the smart money going tonight for you guys?
What do you think, Jay?
Well, the Connor's Chargers, now they're at home. The Cowboys have been really Jekyll and Hyde this year. And I think the Chargers are actually starting to play better, and they're getting Austin Eckler. So if I get 2.5 points, I'm taking the Chargers at home.
I'm taking the Chargers as well, and I think it's going to be over 50. 50.5, is that the over-under? I think it's going to be a shootout for a few reasons, but I'm looking forward to it, and I've got the Chargers as well in a shootout.
I hope it is, man, and I hope Eckler's getting some big yards.
Chargers at home.
For my poll.
More Cowboys fans will be there than Chargers fans, though. That's my prediction for this one. Question number 5. We'll wrap it up with this. Tim Robbins turning 65 years old today. He's been in many movies, including The Shawshank Redemption, one that I have to watch whenever it's on TV. So give me a movie that whenever you see it on TV, you just have to watch it.
So, speaking of, and closely related, I just watched, since I talked to you last, you guys, I watched the Alien series, front, all of them. I just watched all of them. I got in a mode, 3 a day, Saturday, Sunday, and then the other 2 on Monday, or Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday. So I really enjoyed those. I didn't realize they were so good. The first 2 are absolute classics. But you didn't ask that. You asked what's on TV, what I would watch every time. Either one of the 3 spaghetti westerns, Sergio Leone, Clint Eastwood, Fistful of Dollars, A Few Dollars More, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Whew, I like it. There's a few for me. Any of the Bournes, I love the Bourne Identities. I'm all over those, and they're on quite often. Forrest Gump, without question. And Shawshank, Cons, it's hard to top Shawshank, man, because and here's probably this is one right now for Oiler fans. Red spoke directly to Oiler fans when this movie came out. Hope is a dangerous thing. Hope can drive a man insane, Terry. And I think Oiler fans right now, it's only 2 games, and trust me, the season will be fine. But think about it. You're an Oiler fan. You spend all summer. You're like, all right, you know what? Things are good. Ekholm's going to be here all year long. Yeah, you know, Skinner second year. We got McDavid. We got Draisaitl. We got Kane and Nugent Hopkins and Hyman and yada, yada, yada. And they start 0-2. And it literally can drive people insane. It's one of the greatest quotes. And I know that they're in jail, which is obviously you're not in jail, right? Like your life, as bad as it is when the Oilers lose, you're not in jail. So I would think your life is better. Right? But it feels that way. And that's the one line. Like there's so many good ones in that movie, man. But that one is like, that one's obviously right at the top, right? That there's just so many good things, right? But then because Andy's counter to the hope was when he said, hope is a good thing. Maybe the best of things. And no good thing ever dies. Like, gosh, it's so many good lines from that movie, man. So, Cons, it's a great question because there's a few of them that, man, anytime they come on, I'm watching. And it's funny. And so I asked this question, TR, and so I'll ask it to you. Because my wife believes that, and so maybe it's her own experience, that she goes, I know guys will rewatch movies quite often. It's a movie you've seen. I'm like, oh, I got to watch that again. And she's like, she doesn't do it. She talks to her girlfriends. They don't rewatch a lot of things. And I'm like, really? Come on, there's got to be some. So in your experience and the women in your life, do you find that's the same? That they don't, like my wife, be like, I've already seen that. Like now she'll watch an episode of Schitt's Creek or The Office. She loves that, but not a whole movie. And that's why, well, honey, that's why I can quote movies and you can't, because you never watch it more than once.
Yeah, it's funny. I've had this conversation. And look, I'm not trying to agree with you with everything you say, but I've had it with girlfriends and wives. And I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. I don't know if it's that I'm just, maybe you do watch the same, you'd like to watch them. It's just that the movies we're watching, maybe I prefer them. But a lot of, again, not just girls I've been with, but a lot of people when I ask them that question, because I do rewatch a lot. I guess if the point is just to see what happens, then there's no point watching it again. But to be honest, I hear The Sixth Sense I watched the other day again with Penny Lane. And that's obvious. I mean, why even start it? You know exactly, once it happens, it happens.
Yeah.
But I just find there's a lot more to it. You get to see the nuances of, I don't want to sound like some pompous film buff either, but I like that movie Shawshank Redemption, for example, let's just say that one.
Yeah.
The directing's great. The situation is something like we identify with. So it really hits home because everybody identifies. The jail can be metaphorical. Like you just said. I mean, you can have anything as your jail, and that hope and determination and stick-to-itiveness, all of those things can be incorporated into an everyday life situation. And the acting's great. I mean, why do we watch movies? Andy Dufresne, his whole story, it's not just that. It's Tim Robbins playing the character. It's, what's his name?
Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman. And I tell you what, a lot of people don't know. I'll end with a little bit of music or movie trivia. But the guy who plays, what's his name? He loves the birds, the older guy.
Red. No, not Red.
Not Red.
What's his name?
God,
and he's
not
funny, he had
Miles.
it on there. What was here? Gosh, I can't remember his name.
Brooks. So that's Sheb Woolley. And he was a musician in the 60s. His big hit was a novelty hit called One-Eyed, One-Horned, Purple People Eater. But he did have more.
What?
That's
his song?
That's Sheb Woolley. Yeah, he's a big musician. Wow. Yeah, he wasn't just a novelty musician. That was just like it happens a lot. I don't know, the Macarena or Teenage Mutant Ninja. A lot of songs end up overlapping and crossing over into the top 40 world at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, Sheb Woolley. But he was known for a lot of music, not just that.
Sheb Woolley. That's a sick name, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. TR, always like the random knowledge, buddy. It's great. It's fantastic. Great stuff today. Enjoy it. When we talk to you next, will the Oilers have a victory? They're in Nashville tomorrow. Will they have their first win of the season, or will we be asking you to lay down on the couch and do a sports psychology therapy?
Well, I've already made the bet that they're going to win, so I guess from my perspective, the answer is yes, full steam ahead. I have no doubt.
All right, there you go. TR, we'll chat with you on Thursday.
Thanks, Jason. Thanks, Connor. Thank you, Edmonton. Talk soon.
That is Terry Ryan, our weekly Monday and Thursday guy. I did not know that little bit of musical trivia. Nice. Awesome. When we come back, Speck is in Nashville. He will join us. He's probably just sweating bullets. It is hot, always hot in Nashville as we get to Sports 1440 update brought to you by Edmonton Kubota. What's always hot right now is the deal. They got a great deal on all compact BX tractors. 0% financing for 84 months. Stop in now, 156th Street, or shop online at EdmontonKubota.com.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Week 6 in the NFL wrapping up tonight as the Chargers hosting the Dallas Cowboys. Kickoff 6:15. You can join me at the Fort Saskatchewan Canadian Brewhouse for a chance to qualify for a trip for two to the Super Bowl in Las Vegas. The Oilers, they are off tonight ahead of their matchup with the Preds tomorrow. 5 games on the ice, though. You got Connor Bedard and the Blackhawks traveling to Toronto to take on Austin Matthews and the Leafs. Also, Devils host the Panthers. Coyotes in New York taking on the Rangers. Capitals host the Flames, and the Red Wings taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets. Major League Baseball tonight. Right now, the Rangers leading the Astros 5-3. That's on the bottom of the 7th. The Rangers have a 1-0 series lead in that one. And at 6:07, the Phillies taking on the Diamondbacks in Game 1 of the NLCS. With just one game in the AJ tonight. Calgary hosting Whitecourt. That one starting at 7. Coming up in Hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet and Kevin Woodley of In Goal Magazine. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
It's time to gear up for fall at Wolf GMC Buick. But there's a catch. We'll get to that. You're not going to pay high rates like 6.9%. You'll pay 0% financing on all in-stock GMC Sierra half-ton Pro editions. And that's for 60 months. You'll also save $750 if you're a Costco member. 0% financing for 60 months on all in-stock GMC Sierra half-ton Pro editions. The catch? You'll need to get here ASAP because inventory is cruising off the lot pretty quickly.
Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
You'll absolutely love the new and app-approved Booster Juice app. Download it today and start earning berry points for app-amazing rewards. Apply your points for all of your Booster Juice favorites for free. From booster balls to smoothies, snacks, and combo deals, even digital gift cards. Plus, receive personalized offers that appeal directly to you. The new and app-approved Booster Juice app. More than just online ordering. Download it today. Details at boosterjuice.com.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Did you know oil changes could get you closer to your next vacation? Right now at Jiffy Lube, get 50 bonus air miles reward miles when you get a Pennzoil Platinum oil change. Jiffy Lube, keeping you moving.
Hi, Dennis from Weiss Johnson. Are you one of those people out there looking for something different to heat and cool your home? Weiss Johnson is Edmonton's cold climate heat pump specialist and would love to explain to you how Trane heat pumps are a reliable, cost-effective alternative for your home's heating and cooling needs. Order your Trane heat pump now and take advantage of the generous government rebates that are available. Trane, it's hard to stop a Trane. Call the most experienced HVAC company around with over 45 years in business. Visit wjcools.com today.
It's fall, and the leaves are they're gonna fall. But with the Lawnmower Hospital, you're ready with one of the most powerful backpack blowers on the market, the Echo PB9010T. It makes clearing the yard a breeze, and Echo chainsaws provide power and durability to take on anything tougher. And if you're looking to clean up snow commercially this winter, fleet programs are available. Ask in store. Visit lawnmowerhosp.com.
How exciting is it to have Sports Talk Radio back in Edmonton?
Tie game, bottom of the ninth with the full count. The kick, the pitch. It's high. It's far. It is gone. Walk-off home run.
Yeah, it's pretty much like that. Edmonton Kubota is excited to welcome back Sports Talk Radio, Sports 1440. We'll be dialed in for every minute. Get it done, and then some at Edmonton Kubota. All compact BX tractors on sale with 0% financing for 84 months. Stop by on 128th Ave or visit edmontonkubota.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by BIE Engineering, your structural engineering specialist. Whether you're in the process of a renovation or building your dream home, BIE can help you out. Go to BIEENG.com.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
And nothing gets me down. You got it tough. I've seen the toughest around. And I know, baby, just how you feel. You got to roll with the punches and get to what's real.
It's after 5 o'clock. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Spec will be joining us momentarily. It is the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. We did our picks for today for Play Alberta. We do 3 picks a day and 20 bones. And at the end of the month, if we're up anything we win, we donate to charity. We won a grand total of $60 in September, and currently now we are breaking even. So you know what? But it's only the 16th, so you know what? We need to get on a little bit better of a string here. So today we have the Maple Leafs over Chicago, the Blue Jackets over the Red Wings. Boone Jenner going to get another Hanny? Probably not, but still, I like it. And we went with the Rangers over the Coyotes. So let's see how it goes. Players. And oh, by the way, we always said, you know what's great? The texters, we don't even have to ask anymore. Texters are like, hey, here's the game you got to go for. So sometimes we go with one texter, sometimes with two suggestions. Feel free to text them in at 833-401-1440. And we went with the Columbus because they're a little bit of a home dog. So why not? I like that one from James. So there you have it. Let's get to the spec report now, brought to you by GS Construction. And they are hiring right now. Busy time of the year. They're ramping up. So go to Indeed.com, look up GS Construction, apply today. And they got a few openings left for some great work with a great company. And just put in the comments when you apply, you're a big fan of Taran Sanwith. Just telling you, he monitors them all. That'll get you in the good books. Guaranteed. As Mark Spector joins us from Nashville. Spec, now, usually it's muggy. Matthias Ekholm was talking about how hot it was there, but it's not hot right now in Nashville. A rare kind of cool day for them. But you look at the Preds, they're a young team. They got some veterans, but when they traded Ekholm, I think that was the start of them realizing they're going to go in a retooling phase here. Leon Draisaitl has beaten the Preds for fun himself almost. And it looks like Jay Woodcroft, based on now, we know that Woodcroft will do one thing in practice and then something different in the game, which I really don't understand why he does it. But nonetheless, he did have McDavid with Draisaitl and Kane today. I actually don't mind this move. Some people say, oh, it's desperate. It's only 2 games. I'm like, hey, your star player has no points 5-on-5. I don't want that to become 3 games. So I have no problem putting the most dangerous duo in the league together and let them get some mojo. What about you?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think you can both sides this one, Jay. You know what? What you just said is true. McDavid needs a bit of a push start here at 5-on-5 play. I mean, the whole team does. Then this is what you do. I don't. I like their lines. I don't mind their lines. I think the guys on the lines just have to play better. So obviously 2 games in, they're basically blowing up the plan they had. That third line changes, the second line changes, the first line changes. The fourth line barely played in the second game of the season. So, you could look at what's going on here and say, man, they didn't stick with it for very long, did they?
Yeah, I don't really expect them to be honest, right? Like there's a few teams that run, but I was looking back last year, man. Like there's not a lot of teams that are running with the same line combinations for extended period of time. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah, well, 3 games in a row, is that an extended period of time?
Yeah, but now's the time to do it. Like we can say the Oilers are playing well, but they've scored 1 goal 5-on-5 in 2 games. I think now is the easy time to do it.
Hey, buddy, who's saying the Oilers are playing well? First of all. Right? Nobody. They're not playing well. The shot clock was good the other night. Big deal. So sure, this is a coach mixing up his lineup because he doesn't like the way they're playing. And I thought Evander Kane, you were talking to him today. I saw you in the video. His comments about how we got to get inside and we got to go to the net more. And that's him saying what he's got to do because he's been of all the guys up front who are supposed to be hard to play against and taking people to the net and stuff, he hasn't been doing it. So he knows what he's got to do. He knows what the team's got to do. They got to win net front at both sides. They're getting crushed in front of their own net as bad as they are in front of the others, right?
Yep. Yeah, we talked about that. Like when people, there's deflection goals, not the goalie's fault. Okay, maybe, but DeSmith did make a few saves that maybe you shouldn't make. So at some point your goalie needs to do that. But if you're standing by the guy and you don't have a stick on him, what are you doing? I might as well not even stand beside him. So standing there, look, I got him covered. Well, no, you don't if you don't have a stick covered. So I agree.
Yeah,
the Oilers could be tougher in the important areas on the ice.
Yeah, like the football analogy is if you lose the line of scrimmage, you lose the game. If you can't run and you can't block and you can't keep the other team from getting your quarterback, you almost always lose because you've lost the line of scrimmage. Well, the hockey side of that is net front. right? It doesn't matter if you think you got the guy. If he's tipping pucks home from the top of the blue paint, you don't have the guy. If you lose the front of your net, they score 2 crappy tip goals and they beat you 4-3 like Vancouver did. I mean, they're good goals, but you shouldn't allow those to be scored on you. And the other side of it is, if you're not getting to the net offensively, if you're not collecting some garbage, if you're not tipping any pucks, if they're not allowing you to be in there playing that hard game, then they're beating you at that end too. And the Oilers through 6 periods lost net front probably in 5 of them.
Yeah.
And that's how you lose hockey games.
I look at, the goaltending. To me, it's kind of a no-brainer. Now, based on practice, it looked now, I know we saw, I think it was the one time they had Skinner in the starter's net spec and they started Campbell. So who knows? Like, Woodcroft likes to play his weird games. I don't really understand why. But, to me, it's got to be Jack Campbell. Does it not? I wouldn't go back to Stuart Skinner. He's played 6 periods and has a .750 save percentage.
Well, the other guys played 2 periods and has a .750 save percentage. So, sure. Listen, I wrote this column today about the goaltending, and you make the point. You can look back at the 4 goals and say all 4 of them are acceptable goals to be scored against you. The tips, there's a 2-on-0, and Ekholm gets flat out beat by Lafferty, and that shot comes from below the circle, and it is a bullet, right? You're shooting on me from 10 feet away. Sometimes you're going to score. So I get all that. But look at the big picture. Go back to playoffs. This team's had the second best goalie on the ice for 4 games in a row here, right? And we can make all the excuses we want, but that's fact. In the last 2 games of that series against Vegas, Skinner was the second best goalie by a long shot. And in the first 2 games of this season, the Oilers goalie has been the second best goalie by a long shot. So at some point, somebody's got to make a save they're not supposed to make. Every expected goal can't be in your net. And once in a while, the Casey DeSmith, who's standing on his head, he should be wearing blue and orange instead of the other team's colors.
It's totally fair, man. So who would you start tomorrow?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm not rewarding Skinner for the start he had against Vancouver. So on that side, I say I'm going to start Campbell because I'm giving guys a turn until they grab the ball. If whoever I start tomorrow night has a really good game and lets in 1 or 2 and is excellent, he's starting in Philly. You're damn right he is. So, I guess I start Campbell. I'm not really I don't care who starts that much because neither guy's shown me anything this year. But it's probably Campbell's turn for a start. Why not?
No, I would agree with that. Mark Spector joins us. I think I would agree with the Oilers that it's not major panic time. There was long stretches of that game where they played well, but the problem is, Spec, that the errors we've seen in this game are the similar bad decisions at key moments that we've seen in the past. Like Darnell Nurse, there's no reason, because the rest of the game, I don't know if Darnell Nurse made any mistake. You can look at all of his numbers. The rest of the game were amazing. But that one decision at a time where it didn't need to be made. He wasn't the first defenseman in the zone. He was the second defenseman in the zone, and he's the left defenseman, and the puck's on the right side. There is absolutely, and I know that you're expecting your teammate to shoot the puck on net, but it doesn't matter. And you can't make it. And to me, that's one where if I sit down, I'm Dave Manson, I'm like, explain to me why you're doing this. What are you thinking? Because whatever you're thinking there, it's wrong. Don't think it again. At that time, we don't need it. I'm sorry. We don't need it.
No.
Right? Like, they didn't need it. It was in the second period. It wasn't the third period. It was the second period.
He's literally the 5th Oiler.
Yes.
Coming up the ice that time. And as a defenseman, you have to say, okay, there's 4 guys who are in position here for rebounds and to create offense. I got to make sure that there's somebody playing defense here. So, you know what? Darnell Nurse, he has had a good game. And I know the town. What did he say? They blame me for traffic on Jasper Avenue. I know this town and this fan base is all over him because of what he makes. And I've not been that guy. I realize that he plays against the best people. He's got the toughest assignments. There's a lot of things he does that I like, but I'll tell you what, that's a sign right there. This guy's going to be a leader on a Stanley Cup championship team one day, or that's what he wants to be. He's got to grow up, right? That's a kid's mistake that he made there. And I don't care if it's the only one he made in the whole game, Jason.
Yep.
Right? This team is counting on that player to be a rock-solid defenseman and to take them to places they haven't been in a long, long time. And that's not a mistake that player makes, right? If you're going to be that player, you don't make that mistake. And he made it again. So he's just one of a bunch of guys that needs to settle the game down a little bit and get consistent and get better. Because right now they got too many guys making one mistake each, and they're losing.
It's again early on, but I really liked Holloway and Fogle. And you know what? So Fogle goes up, Brown comes down, and Connor Brown, it's 2 games, but he hasn't really looked impactful. It hasn't really looked dangerous at all. I barely noticed him on the ice.
No, I barely noticed him either, but he's got he's of all the players, he's on a new team and he's coming off a torn ACL and he hasn't played a game in 12 months. So, everybody said it. Draisaitl said it. McDavid said it. We got to be patient with this guy a little bit. Give him a little bit of time. I agree with that.
Fair.
I agree with that. Big major injury guy. I've watched hockey long enough to know the major injury guys need time. He needs time.
Yeah. So so because he needs time, it's the right decision though to move him down where there's better chance of success and there's less pressure of needing to produce when early on maybe you're not ready to produce.
Well, I really like the makeup of that third line, and I'm sure they'll get back to it. And I'm sure Connor Brown will get his shot back in the top 6 to be that player. But I guess what happens here is the coaches have watched the film on these last 2 games and said he's just not ready to take that much ice time. He's not ready to play next to Connor McDavid. And I defer to the coaches on that. If that's what they think, that he's got to play somewhere, because you can't put him in the press box.
No.
And that means you got to move your lines around. So I don't think this Draisaitl McDavid on the same line is going to last forever. So at some point, you're going to have to find a winger for McDavid on the right side, and let's figure that out when the time comes. But this is about giving Connor Brown a little bit less to chew on here. His plate's awfully full.
Mark Spector joins us from Nashville. Spec, what are you expecting from the Preds tomorrow? They're a younger team. Burnett's coaching them. They got UC Saros. They play hard. And maybe that's what Edmonton needs, because Edmonton has to match the hardness at the, for anybody who coaches minor hockey, a lot of them use the term protect the house, which is, that area right in front of your net. And you got to be stronger in the house and both ends of the rink for Edmonton. And I think Nashville's probably going to push them. And if they don't do it, they could find themselves 0-3.
Yeah, listen, I'm not of the mind that I don't care who the Oilers are playing. I still look at Edmonton as an elite team in the National Hockey League. I think everybody would. And it's about Edmonton playing the way Edmonton plays. I'm not concerned with their opponent at this point. I think that if they were playing the Vegas Golden Knights tomorrow, I would expect them to get their poop in a group here and play a much stronger brand of hockey all the way through. And if it's Nashville and when it's Philly, I guess the difference is, to me, if the Oilers play the way they can play, they beat Nashville, 8 nights out of 10. And if they play the way they can play, they win in Philly too. So it's about the Oilers here, right? It's about Edmonton playing the way they can play. And it's about getting some saves. It's about getting off the darn perimeter and getting some forwards inside and making it hard on the other team's defense. And it's about getting some saves, and all those things happen, Jay. You might actually get a W here once in a while.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Specker, speaking of getting a W, that's all they've gotten. I know you're a huge baseball guy, so I have to ask you. The Texas Rangers are 6-0 in the postseason. They swept the Rays, they swept Baltimore, and they beat Houston 1-0 in their first game, and now they're leading 5-4 in the bottom of the 8th in Game 2. You talk about just getting on a run. What do you make of the Rangers so far in the postseason?
Isn't that crazy? I mean, that's a team that was in that wild card race behind Toronto, and we weren't even sure who was going to make it, or if there was Seattle not going to beat out Texas at one point very late in the season. I mean, they crawled in, and hey, baseball, it's a goofy year in baseball. I think we talked about this. The top 6 baseball teams in the major league's regular season combined to win one postseason game this year, right?
Yeah.
So when you get one of those years, man, it's one of those voodoo postseasons for baseball. And Texas is riding it hard. I mean, when they lose one, they might lose 10. So I guess they could only lose 4 at this point. But it's fun. It's fun. This is where Vegas gets rich, pal. And this is where the odd guy hits a long shot. But it'd be a tough – if you were betting baseball this spring or fall, I suspect it'd be a tough year.
Might be. Well, Spec, enjoy Nashville's. Are you going to Tootsie's tonight?
No, straight to, I'm going to stop at church and then I'm going to bed.
Well, make sure you genuflex while you're there, okay?
I will for sure, bud.
It's Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet. It's the Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction. When we return, this is the guy you're going to want to hear from. Kevin Woodley will give us a breakdown. What has he seen? What's gone wrong? Skinner, Campbell, is it major errors? Is it just little technical things? We will find out next on the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Thinking about solar power? Action Electrical wants to eliminate your entire home or business power bill and keep more cash in your pocket. With effective paybacks in 5 to 9 years, give solar a chance with Action and put your lazy roof to work. Alberta is the second highest province for the amount of full sunlight hours, and with system life exceeding 25 years, solar power is like a McDavid draft pick. Still have questions about solar power? Contact the professionals at actionelectrical.net today. That's actionelectrical.net.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need: Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Ain't it beautiful? There's electricity in the air. Carrie Dahl here for Volvo of Edmonton, where the Volvo XC40 and C40 fully electric vehicle is now in stock, along with a great selection of Volvo T8 hybrid models. Experience the trusted Volvo quality and technology to power into tomorrow at Volvo Cars Edmonton, Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winners. Experience the difference. Volvo of Edmonton.
We've got your local sports covered all day. Fox Sports has you covered tonight, after 9, and all weekend long. Be sure to check out the incredible NFL coverage on Sunday. Often imitated, never duplicated. We're Sports 1440.
Hi, I'm Colin from Cantork. The call letters and studio have changed, yet Edmonton's passion for sports endures. Cantork proudly continues our partnership with Jason Gregor and is eager to get back in the game on Sports 1440.
Hey world, get ready to believe. At Oodle Noodle, we serve up world-class, worldwide flavors in our sweet, saucy, and fiery noodles. We believe in the power of nudes. We've got everything from saucy mac and cheese to sizzling pad thai to so many other unbelievable dishes sure to make you a noodle convert for life. You've got to taste them to believe it. Don't be a skeptic. The proof is in the noodles. Check us out at oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle Noodle. We believe in noodles.
Building or renovating, you want to work with someone who sees and understands your vision. BIE Engineering is a family-owned, experienced structural engineering consulting firm serving commercial and residential clients in Edmonton and surrounding area. Homeowner or large company, they'll work with you to help see your ideas through. BIE Engineering can help prevent problems, deliver solutions, and minimize your risk. BIE Engineering. Request a quote for your project today. Visit BIEENG.com.
Oil changes on your schedule and bonus Air Miles reward miles? Only at Jiffy Lube. Right now, get an extra 50 Air Miles reward miles with your Pennzoil Platinum oil change. Jiffy Lube, keeping you moving.
What does 3 decades of perfecting your craft look like? Ask the guys at Leduc Goldsmiths, locally run and bringing you nothing but quality work and service. Built from the ground up through family, from generation to generation, uncle to nephew, father to son. The pride in their family jewelry store is the pride you take home, bringing you custom and repair work. But it's their face-to-face service that keeps you coming back. Leduc Goldsmiths on Main Street, Leduc. Leduc's Jewelry Store, family owned and operated for over 30 years.
At Toyota, we build quality trucks with you in mind because everyone loves a friend with a truck, especially a Toyota, winner of the Canadian Black Book Award for Best Residual Value. So when that inevitable ring-a-ding-ding for help comes, you're there, rolling up in an award-winning truck because you're an award-worthy friend. It's time to Toyota. Finance a 2023 Tacoma 4x4 Double Cab SR5 starting from $140 weekly for 84 months at 6.49% APR with $6,599 down. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Prairie Toyota dealer today.
Did you strike out on booking Network Travel's 2023 baseball trip to see the Jays play by the Bay in Seattle? Well, registration is now open for the 2024 trip next season. Want to fly in for the Sunday, July 7th game and return the same day? Or do you want to fly in Saturday morning and catch both games that weekend with an overnight stay? Either way, it won't be long before Network Travel has a full count for both options. So book today at networktravel.ca.
We've got your local sports covered all day. Fox Sports has you covered tonight, after 9, and all weekend long. Be sure to check out the incredible NFL coverage on Sunday. Often imitated, never duplicated. We're Sports 1440.
A premier hockey solution with a clear path for long-term development is proud to be entering its 7th season of independent borderless hockey, featuring provincial and cross-province competition with showcase style, regular season gameplay, and a strong commitment to individual skill development. It's an attractive option for those seeking family life balance. The Hockey Super League offers opportunities for both male and female athletes, born between 2011 and 2016. Visit hockeysuperleague.com for more information.
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks. There's something going on every day at OTR on Monday, Bingo Tunes, Taco Tuesday, karaoke on Wednesdays, Salsa Night Thursday, and live music every weekend on the OTR stage with DJ Kenny K. On the Rocks, Jasper Ave, and 118.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.523. Welcome back. Jason Gregor Show. Sports 1440. Live on Oilers Nation YouTube. Hey guys, maybe Nurse needs a true top pairing defense partner. He does too much by himself against the league's best. CC's not the answer. Trade him with picks and our prospects and get an actual top 4 right D. Well, I really don't think a lot of Darnell Nurse's issues. Like, look at the play last game. If he has a right defenseman who pinches down, if Nurse, it doesn't matter if he's playing with Cale Makar at that point. If Nurse doesn't choose to make the right decision, then guess what? It's a 2-0 the other way. Nurse's biggest challenge at times is himself. He just needs to, less is more with him because he does a lot of things very well. Makes a lot of really good plays. But then he has the tendency and the penchant to, when it's an error, it's a 10-bell error. And he just has to eliminate that. And honestly, I don't even think it's that difficult. Right? Just look, okay, ease off. Right? It's great that you want guys who want to do lots, but if you're constantly wanting to do lots and it ends up hurting the team, eventually you have to look and say, guess what? Not anymore. So we'll see. Get to Kevin Woodland now. We've been waiting for this. It should be very interesting. Oiler fans patiently waiting what's going to happen when we discuss the goaltending today as we go around the NHL. Brought to you by McDonald's. Monopoly is back, baby. More ways and more chances to play. First peel on your pack, then you can peel in the app. All the rules at McDpromotion.ca. McDpromotion.ca. Is Kevin Woodley from In Goal Magazine, NHL.com. Joins us, and I know, Kev, you're watching the Vancouver-Edmonton games very closely, so it's perfect. Oiler fans want answers. When you look at the goaltending, and we'll start, I guess, with Campbell or Skinner, do you see anything technically that's a major concern with either one?
It's actually a good question. The short answer is no. Like, it's not like I'm watching them and I'm like, wow, like, this is off. This has changed from last year. This needs to change. It's funny, you know. I mean, look at the game the other night. You can nitpick the game-winning goal in terms of Stewart's down in a blocking position by the time his shot is released by Sam Lafferty. But take a look at where that's released from. Like, that's inside the bottom of the faceoff circle. Like, you're almost into a blocking zone at that point. That's a pretty tough spot to react from. And it's a tough puck to read off the stick blade because Ekholm's trying to stop him. Like, I thought Lafferty looked like Echo maybe underestimated the speed of Sam Lafferty and allowed him to get wide on him. And I thought Lafferty did a really nice job of sort of holding off that stick. But when you look as a goaltender, there's some great replays on that one from behind the net where you look at just how much information you're trying to process at that point in terms of where Ekholm's stick is. And it's not just a clean release, and it's from a spot on the ice where that's a tough save. And he puts it just above the pad on the blocker side. Like, it's a tough shot. It sucks that it's the game-winning goal and it ends up with, what was it, 4 on 16 or 4 on 15? Like that, at the end of the day, that doesn't look great. That's the one that you come back to. But when you look at the deflections, are we pinning those on the goaltender? Like, those are tips right in front of them. What did I talk about the other day about the changes the Oilers were making in terms of how they defended and what I was worried about, if anything, for Stuart Skinner in his second season? As long as you defended the middle of the ice, he'd be fine. What didn't they defend on both of those deflections, the middle of the ice? He's not a goaltender that's going to be on top of his crease, maybe taking away some of that angle on a tip right in front of him. And it's not like you can react to a puck that changes directions that close to you, right? Like, if you're not, as he was, going to cradle that second puck, then it's going to hit you and fall down at the feet of that forward, and you've given up a bad rebound. Like, he's moving to catch a puck that's headed towards his chest, and the guy makes a good tip right in front of him. So, and the other one's a 2-on-0, where I think you could make an argument that he was anticipating a pass back to Pettersson and was maybe a little late on a shot by Studnicka. But if I'm reading that play as an NHL goaltender, and God knows I ain't, but if I'm reading that play, I'm thinking that the pass is coming back on a 2-on-0 to the Canucks' best player. And so, yeah, I might flatten out and cheat that way a little bit. As much as, you in a perfect world want to play everything straight away and squared up, it's that anticipation that separates good goaltenders. And it looked like that's what he is anticipating. And, all credit in the world to Jack Studnicka, a guy who just got called up on emergency conditions, for having the balls, frankly, to take that shot on a 2-on-0 with Pettersson waiting with a one-time option on the other side. So I know, listen, I get it. I see where the concern is. The numbers are not pretty. The adjusted numbers are not pretty. Both of the deflection goals get categorized, and this is where we can pick nits about how analytics work. They both get categorized as mid percentage chances, not super high danger. And so, yeah, right now, adjusted save percentage, Stuart Skinner's the worst in the National Hockey League. But I still watch those two games, and I'm not sure I'm super worried about goaltending as a whole. I do have some questions. Actually, almost feel like I got to flip the tables on you here, Jason, because as I watch some of the hesitancy in their game defensively, and don't forget that a goaltender doesn't just read off what an attacking player is trying to do. So much of your reads defensively are based on trusting what your teammates are going to do. This is the one thing I've learned big time from In Goal Magazine. We do those pro reads every week where NHL goalies sit down with us and review video. It's amazing to me how many times I expect the answer to be about what the offensive player is doing. And the answer I get from some of the best in the game is, I am playing it this way because I trust my defenseman to do this, or I know that I've got a back checking forward here and that lane's covered. So much of what they do as goaltenders is based on reading what their team is doing in front of them. And there seems to be a little hesitancy in the Oilers game defensively, which, given everything we said about where they were defensively last year, and the numbers were promising, the change and the need for change in terms of the structure and to switch to more of a zone defense from a distance, from the outside, reading about it and seeing some of that hesitancy in their game. Maybe you can help me with this as somebody who's more plugged in locally. Why the need for that change? Because I didn't think it was broken last year.
That's fair. I think they felt like when they had breakdowns, they were big ones and glaring. So I know that they were trying to make it a little bit easier for their center iceman. Not as much movement for their center iceman at times. And I know that was part of it. They were going to be a little bit more passive. The thing was, when I look at the goals they've scored, like, Vancouver's barely been in the defensive zone with any sort of sustained pressure. None of their, like, Pettersson goal off the rush, Lafferty goal off the rush. Okay, deflection on a power play, that's not even, that's a different system than 5-on-5, right? Like, and then you go back to the games in Vancouver. You had 3 on the power play, you had 3 on the rush. 1 was off a face-off, and so their face-off structure is different than a whole defensive thing, because it basically went point, shot. Right, it went off a skate in front of the net. That's not a system one. Like, I really don't think
the best one in game 1 was the one where it was most glaring. I thought you're right, and that's not a majority of them. That's fair.
But even the one in game 1, if you go back and look, well, first of all, Bouchard, you can't lose a battle that easily when you have complete control of the puck, right? So that started it. Then it went, and they had 3 guys in the area, but none of them went to the right guy. So that's fair. That's the one I could say, okay, that's one goal. But I just look at the end of the day for the goaltenders, and we talk about deflections. Well, Casey DeSmith found ways to stop deflections. At some point, your goalie has to make a save. You can't have a .750 save percentage in 2 consecutive NHL games and say, wow, there's nothing wrong with our goalies. Like, to me, you got to find a way to make a save.
Jack Campbell's performance in the opening night was barely below expected. I think you throw the opening night out, to be honest with you. They got washed. They weren't ready to play. I thought the coaching staff, like I was in that scrum with Jay Woodcroft after, and I thought he summed it up beautifully. And so when I look at Campbell's night in that one, like the bounces he had, even before the Besser goal where he picks it out of the air, like I like the save he made on the rebound off JT Miller on a tough chance. Again, on a rush play that they didn't sort out very well. Good play by Besser over to Roenick. Coming again down, what do we talk about? The middle of the ice, coming down the middle of the ice unchecked. The rebound spills out to his right because it's off the right pad, but I like the rebound save he made. He gets to me, Campbell actually, ironically, wasn't terrible. I know it's 4 on 16, but it was actually 4 on 16 that was pretty close to expected. Like they generated on those 16 shots almost 3.5 goals. So yeah, to me, it's almost 2 different games and 2 different situations. And the one thing I will say about the reads and reading off the defense is when you don't feel like you have that in your game, if you see any hesitation elsewhere in the defensive zone, even if it's not the cause of goals, it causes you to think twice. If everybody else is thinking about what they're doing, so are you as a goaltender. It can just bleed into other parts of your game. Again, we're 2 games in, tiny sample. Obviously, they got goalied on Saturday night by Casey DeSmith. And I would point out a Canucks team that did a really good job for the most part of winning the battles to second pucks in front of DeSmith, because they were on
100%.
39 chances. The Edmonton Oilers generated 15 rebounds, but only a couple of rebound shots. So that's not just Casey DeSmith. That's the team in front of him being more committed to boxing out, winning battles, and clearing pucks, frankly, than I've seen the Vancouver Canucks in as long as I can remember. And that's where I think that there's 2 sides to that coin. There's the Vancouver Canucks under Rick Tocchet being ready to start the season and being very geared up for the Edmonton Oilers. But there's also in game 2, on a night where the Oilers dominated possession and should have won the game by almost any metric. I heard Evander Kane or read Evander Kane talking today about getting to the dirty areas. I didn't think they won a lot of those battles. When they did, they got loose puck goals. The one early in the game and the one McDavid on the power play where he's able to fish that puck out of the crowd and put it into a mostly empty net. Other than that, I don't think they won enough of those battles against the Canucks team that is early on vastly improved in that area, because it's an area they struggled mightily in years past.
Kevin Woodley from Ingo Magazine NHL and NHL.com joins. Kevin, we've had a few people wondering, does Stuart Skinner, if he's on the top of his crease for those deflections, is that better positioning, or is that just where he plays? Right? Or are they being coached to play too deep? What do you make of that? We got a few people texting.
And this is a give and take. Like everything in goaltending is give and take. And I don't know it's being coached to so much as that's where, like, Stuart's a big body, right? Like he's a big boy. And so he doesn't need to be as far out in his crease to take out or to take up a bunch of the net. If you do get to the edge of your crease, like naturally, like think of this rule of thumb for deflections for goaltenders. The closer I am to the deflection point, the less room that deflected puck has to change angle to get past me. Like I'm sort of literally closing on that path of deflection, and less likely it gets by me. Now, easy on the tip, but you don't often make clean saves off deflection. So the give and take is, if I'm at the top of my crease, and let's be honest, we've talked about this, that's not where he plays for the most part. That's just not his game. But if he is at the top of the crease and gets a piece of it, there's a good chance there's loose change around him. And then that's where you're counting on your defenseman to win those battles. And of course, when 2 pucks go in, most people are going to say, well, hey, give me the first save and we'll worry about the second chance later on. But that's, that if they're going to give up those lanes through the middle of the ice and not tie up sticks in front, then that's an adjustment he's going to have to make as a goaltender, because those are tough chances to deal with otherwise.
Now let's look at a few other ones quickly. Other goalies around the league. It's early on. Demko, I thought, looked great in his first game, and when he's healthy, I think that's going to be a big difference for them. What do you make of Carolina? And I don't know if you had a chance to watch, Freddie Anderson's 2-0, but he's got like an 867 save percentage, right? Like they've been giving up a ton of goals in Carolina, which is kind of surprising. It's very early on, but they've given up 14 goals in 3 games, Kev.
Yeah, and I got to be honest with you, a lot of it, like normally you'd look at you'd kind of look at what they're giving up chances wise and be like, oh well, hey, it's early in the season, they're loose defensively, and this isn't on the goaltending, but they're still top 10, pardon me, defensively in sort of everything except 5-on-5 defensive zone play. Like they've struggled. That new pairing has struggled with Tony DeAngelo. And I'm brain cramping on the guy who came over from Washington to Boston to there we go. That his part, those two have struggled defensively a little bit. And obviously that's going to take some time for Reeds. I don't think any of us thinks of Tony DeAngelo as an exceptional defender. But this is on goaltending, right? Antti Raanta had a rough night the other night. You mentioned Freddie Anderson. Hey, took him in my hockey pool. Mostly because of the environment he's in, because I know there are going to be nights where he's going to win and get me 2 points in my hockey pool, despite maybe not being on top of his game. I thought like the adjusted numbers weren't as kind to Freddie last year. And so I worried about a step back there. But then I watched him closely in the playoffs and I loved his game. So like to me, 3 games in, I guess now, if you're the Carolina Hurricanes, your defensive zone play 5-on-5 is a concern. I think you trust, like Antti Raanta had a rough night the other night. But Antti Raanta is also, traditionally over the past number of years, when healthy, been an exceptional goaltender. So you're not panicking on his first start of the season. And let's not forget, a lot of these numbers are skewed because if I'm not mistaken, again, top of my head, but they've played 3 and 2 of those are a back-to-back situation with travel. So that's going to have an effect on it in terms of tire legs in front of Antti Raanta's start.
But LA to Anaheim isn't travel, buddy. Let's be real.
Well, no, but in fairness, it's early in a season, early enough in a road trip that their body clocks may still be on Carolina time. They're out west. They're playing, 3 and 4 to start the season. So listen, I'm not trying to make like goalie union card, making excuses for all the goalies early. Like I said at the top of this question, the numbers other than one category aren't terrible defensively. This has been on the goaltenders, but it's not at a point where I'm panicking 3 games into the season.
And lastly, before I let you go, because, Oiler fans, when they struggle, they're like, hey, Schwartz has done nothing as a goalie coach. He's never improved any goalie. And I actually think there's some numbers to discount that state. But where do you come out on Edmonton's goalie coach?
I'm biased. I've built a relationship with Dustin Schwartz dating back to working with him at Hockey Canada's POE. I think he's an excellent coach. I've watched him work with young goalies. Anybody that says that he hasn't done anything, just take a. I mean, am I wrong? Was Stuart Skinner an all-star last year? Did I miss that? Was Dustin Schwartz's pick? I watched those two work for the first time together at that one of those POE camps and saw where that sort of light bulb went off that he had something he could work with. I don't know a lot of other people that had Stuart Skinner pegged as a can't-miss NHL goaltender when he was drafted, frankly. And yet here we are a relative short time later, given pedigree, and he's in the NHL, last year as a number 1 goaltender. There might be some ups and downs this year. We talked about that second year. Yep. But like he's case in point, and that's one of the few guys that I think Schwartz has had a strong role in selecting. I don't know for a fact because, when you have relationships with guys, you don't cross that line by asking them for information that would put them on the spot and therefore put me on the spot right now. So I don't know how much of a voice he's had in selecting some of the other goaltenders that he's gotten to work with. But based on what I think are his preferences in terms of goalie styles, I don't know that he would have been cheerleading for some of these signings. And so, and listen, that's the other thing. I'm not ready to completely dismiss how Jack Campbell looked in the preseason based on one game. I still think there are improvements there. I guess I would say at the end of all that, Mikko Koskinen, Mike Smith had some of the best years of his career late there. So I don't know. I know goaltending is an easy target. I don't think I lay this at the feet of Dustin Schwartz. As a matter of fact, I know I don't. But as I admitted at the beginning, I've got biases here. I watch him work. I watch goalies get better. Let me put it this way. The last time I had a market that I did regular work in, glom onto the goalie coach as the target, was in Winnipeg. And the next season, Connor Halley won a Vezina Trophy. It was the year before that. Everybody in Winnipeg was ready to run Wade Flaherty out. Now, I'd watched Wade work the same way I'd watched Dustin work, and I'd watched his goaltenders respond to it. And Connor Halley, at a similar point in his career as Stuart Skinner, had some early success, but had taken a bit of a step back, was trying to make changes in his game that weren't innate and instinctual at that point. And everybody wanted to dump on Wade Flaherty as the reason for it. Well, Vezina Trophy, long-term contract. I don't think anybody in Winnipeg is questioning Wade Flaherty anymore. And I feel similarly about Dustin Schwartz and the work he's done and will continue to do with the Edmonton Oilers.
Kev, that's why we like to have you on the show, buddy. Give an opinion. It's perfect. Thanks for this. We will chat with you next Monday.
Perfect. Thanks, Jason. Enjoy another week of NHL hockey.
That is Kevin Woodley from In Goal Magazine and NHL.com. It's 5:43. Jason Gregor. Connor Halley stepped out because he's on his way to Fort Saskatchewan. Say hi to the Comman. I think the Duke will be there as well, as it's the Chargers and the Cowboys at the Brew House in Fort Saskatchewan tonight. Stop in, see the fellas. They'll probably get you a beer as well. And they're going to try the first time. These two rookies have never tried the cauliflower wings, which is basically cauliflower and hot sauce. It's unbelievable. It's one of the greatest things you'll ever have. If you haven't tried it, you should try it because it's amazing. We'll come back, wrap things up. Read lots of your texts. 833-401-1440. It's the Gregor Show on Sports 1440 Live and Owners Nation. YouTube presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
A full-service provider of heavy haul transportation and rigging at the highest level. Next Gen Transportation.
We're developing new and innovative ways to transport oversized and overweight equipment to remote and challenging locations.
Our Next Gen team leads with a wealth of experience and expertise. But most importantly, we put safety first, so everyone gets home safely.
We also take great pride in supporting our local community programs and teams. Good luck to everyone this season and in the year ahead.
Visit nextgentransportation.com.
Are you ready to light up your game like Edmonton lights up the ice?
Then choose eWell.
Electrical Wholesalers Edmonton Limited offers lightning fast service. Just like your favorite forward, they deliver your electrical supplies in record time.
Plus winning quality. They only stock the best.
And don't forget about their all-star support. When it comes to customer service, they're the playmakers.
So don't sit in the dark. Make the power play and visit eWell today. Online at ewel.ca, where excellence in electrical meets the heart of hockey.
Mr. Rooter carves a pumpkin.
What you thinking, Mr. Rooter?
Something truly frightening. A clogged toilet is too easy. We did a blocked sewer line last year, but that scared the kids too much.
Well, what keeps you up at night? What is it, Mr. Rooter?
A sump pump.
Okay.
A sump pump with a faulty float switch.
No, the horror. The horror!
For a plumber who knows the tricks to treat your pipes, carve out time for Mr. Rooter.
First Round is Edmonton's NFL headquarters. Get in the game and watch NFL football this season at First Round. And you'll have a chance to win a trip to your favorite NFL city to watch a game in person next season. And the hits keep on coming with food and drink specials, big screen TVs, and more. Catch the Pro Bowl brunch every Sunday, Monday Night Football, and head in Thursdays for your chance to win an NFL replica helmet. NFL at First Round. Burgers, beer, sports. Downtown West Edmonton Mall and at 1strnd.ca.
At The Brick, we're not just proud of this city and its rich sports history. We're proud partners of it. The Brick started right here in Edmonton over 50 years ago. And when we're not cheering on the Oilers and Oil Kings live at the game, or the Edmonton Elks under the bright stadium lights, we're in our stores, providing everything you need to cheer them on in your home. The Brick, supporting Edmonton sports teams and fans since 1971, saving you more.
Hey everyone, it's Kelly here from United Sport and Cycle. United's annual Hockey Days sale is on now. Save up to 20% off on skates, 25% off on equipment, and 35% off on all Pro Stock sticks. United Sport and Cycle, your home of hockey for over 95 years.
Ready, dude? It's only a 200-foot drop. You'll be fine. Off you go.
This is so fun!
You don't have to go to great heights to have a good time. Feel the fun at playojo.net online casino. With stacks of exciting slots and table games added every single week. Get that Ojo feeling at playojo.net today.
Open to all players 18 years and older. This is not a gambling site. Please play responsibly.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, the clear choice for all your auto, residential, and commercial glass. Call 310 Glass or book now at crystalglass.ca.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
We continue on. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Declan Kruger with you to wrap up a busy Monday. If you missed any parts of the show, of course, individual interviews are at jasongregor.com. All the podcasts up anywhere where you get your podcasts, which is fantastic. Thanks, everybody, for listening. You can rewatch the show on Oilers Nation YouTube, which I know some of you do, and then you send some messages the next day, which always make me laugh. So keep it company. Hey, Greg's Woodley simply has it dialed in. He clearly sees the entire game and can speak to it on a technical level from each positional perspective and wraps it up through the goalie's eyes. Really like it. Nice. Hey, Greg's, you see your nephew, solid tilt. I did, actually. I was watching that during the commercial break, and I was joking with him earlier. I said, hey, when you play with Reeves, man, you want to get on your good books, just drop the gloves once in the first 5 games. And trust me, those guys will love it. It's obviously not what you need to do on a regular basis, but hey, every now and then, it's not a bad thing, right? And it's not like, Connor Murphy's a pretty big dude, right? He's like 6'4". It's the second time he's actually fought him, so good for him. Take it. Hey, guys, I really enjoy when you get Woodley on. He calms me down in my evaluations of the goaltenders. Keep it up, from Dan. Guys, really enjoy Woodley's breakdown. Well, I disagree. I think the goalies need to make a save. He's probably right on some of the other ones, and makes me wonder, why would they consider altering their defensive system? Well, hey, like I said, I don't think, first of all, anything a tip on a power play has nothing to do with the defensive system they played before, because it's not 5-on-5. So I take that one out of the equation, right? Edmonton hasn't spent much time in their D zone in those 2 games against Vancouver. Right? Most of the goals came within like 3 or 4 seconds of entering the zone. Lots of goals off the rush. So if anything, we might say, okay, this 1-1-3, what's it doing? Now, the 1-1-3 had nothing to do with the third goal, where it's a 2-on-on, right? That has nothing to do with it. You just, Darnell Nurse can't be that aggressive. There's no need for it, right? At all. No need to do it. So that's one. I look at their overall, I never saw Vancouver have any sort of extended pressure in the offensive zone, and never thought like, oh, geez, look at Edmonton's reeling. Guys are out of position now. They're scrambling. You didn't see that. So again, to me, it comes down to the big errors are what's costing them. That is, to me, that's their big issue right now. Big issue. And that's just got to come from between the ears, man. So, Gregor, Nurse was tapping his stick. I'm open. Why is he open? Because the other team was getting ready for the next loose puck. Well, not really. Right? If now, sure, Nurse could think he's open, but it doesn't mean it's the right read. And then number 2, it was more of a shot that misses the net far side, and that can't happen, right? Like on any goal, there's never one. There's usually a few combination of errors. Nurse made the one error. You don't need to be attacking there. Now, if that was a one-off, be like, okay, you know what? The Oilers haven't scored much, 5-on-5. You're being aggressive. Okay, you get caught up in the moment. It happens. And in the game of hockey, there will be incorrect split-second decisions. Happens all the time. But Nurse has the propensity to have made the big glaring error at time when he's trying to do too much. I don't believe at that point it was necessary to go in. Now, you know what? He can tell you that, hey, this is what I saw, and that's fine. But you have to read that the other defenseman's already in. You can't go in. Just doesn't happen. So, Hey, guys, should there be concern for Kane? He's done not very little since the injury from Chris and Victoria. Well, Chris, he scored 16 goals in 41 games last year. It's 32-goal pace, so I wouldn't say it was nothing. I look at Kane, and can he bring more than he brought through the first 2 games? Without question. No question in my mind, he can do it, right? What did he have? 3 goals. I can't remember. Was it 3 goals in the playoffs? Not great, but not awful. Like 3 and 12, right? Times that. So if you got 12, you do that over a 72. Yeah, it's for him, that's a 20-goal pace. It would be higher, right? If he had 5 goals, a few more, sure. I don't think injury is an issue at all for him. So I just think he's got to play a little bit better. So that's just me. And I think he's capable of doing it without question. And you know what? Hey, he's going to be given an opportunity for sure if he's doing it tomorrow night, playing with both of McDavid and Draisaitl, which it looks like it's going to be. So we'll see how it goes. Thanks. You know what? The text line was humming today. I love it. Hey, Greg's, why is Woodley not a goalie coach? We'll ask him that next week. Being a goalie coach isn't that easy, for sure. Right? But I'll let Kevin answer that because I can't answer it honestly. On behalf of Declan Kruger, Connor Halley, I'm Jason Gregor. Thanks so much for tuning in. Enjoy it. How about this? The Rangers, 7-0, baby. Oh, my goodness. Are they ever going to lose? Imagine if they went undefeated in the postseason. Woo! That'd be unbelievable. But they are 7-0 and 3 wins away now from the World Series. Let's get to Declan Kruger and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Home with no payments, no interest for 1 year on your furnace. Stay warm all winter at legacyheating.ca. Good night.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
And one last time from us today, it is your Sports 1440 update. Week 6 in the NFL wraps up tonight as the Los Angeles Chargers host the Dallas Cowboys. Kickoff starting in just about 20 minutes here. You can join Connor Halley at the Fort Saskatchewan Canadian Brewhouse for your chance to qualify for a trip to the Super Bowl in Vegas. Seattle Kraken will be without the services of forward Brandon Tanev for 4 to 6 weeks with a lower body injury. Tanev suffered the injury during the team's 4-1 season opening loss to the Vegas Golden Knights. Around the NHL, Blackhawks and Maple Leafs tied at 0 at the end of the first. Panthers up 2-0 on the Devil also at the end of the first. Rangers up 1-0 on the Coyotes. Flames up 2-0 on the Capitals. And the Red Wings up 1-0 on the Columbus Blue Jackets. In MLB playoffs today, it was the Texas Rangers getting it done 5-4 against the Houston Astros to move to 7-0 in the postseason and 2-0 in this series. Diamondbacks and Phillies going to get going in about 10 minutes or so here. One game in the AJ is Calgary hosts Whitecourt at 7. And a new edition of the CIS rankings came out earlier today. U of A Golden Bears still sitting at number 9. That's going to do it for us today. On behalf of Connor Halley, I am Declan Kruger with your Sports 1440 update. Carius and Douglas back tomorrow, 7 a.m. and Fox Sports coming to you at 9.
The Brick. We're not just proud of this city and its rich sports history. We're proud partners of it. The Brick started right here in Edmonton over 50 years ago. And when we're not cheering on the Oilers and Oil Kings live at the game, or the Edmonton Elks under the bright stadium lights, we're in our stores, providing everything you need to cheer them on in your home. The Brick, supporting Edmonton sports teams